And we're back. Ooh. Tomorrow getting
Wrong
all
button.
spooky there.
Wrong button.
Wrong button. No spookiness. All right.
But my monitor works like this.
That with the glowing headset, that's very sort of diabolical.
Tell us about Moleman.
Yeah. Or Mothman.
I'm the Underminer.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You're right. Either way, creepy men underground.
All right. I'm just tweeting about how good we are.
Why are the Mothmen underground?
Because I wanted them to be. In my mythology, Mothmen are underground. And I'm realizing now I'm incorrect, but I don't care. In my head, they are now underground.
Oh no, the key is that you have to never admit that you're wrong.
Oh,
It's because of the architecture, right? So they live in these places, this Mothic kind of style, and it's all
Oh,
underground.
yeah. Mothic architecture. It's,
They like-
it's good.
Like
Or off-
90s alt rock.
Sorry, viewers. Did you want Dungeons and Dragons? Because that's not something we do here, apparently.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, there's just not going to be an image with this. I don't think people read Twitter anyway. All right. I have twitted.
You're a twit.
Thanks. All right. So, we're back. We had a great vacation, or at least some of us did. In England, we missed all of you who weren't there with us dearly. We talked about you night and day.
Huh?
not
You're never going to be a real boy, Pinocchio.
So, we're back. I'm filled with inspiration from seeing old things.
The end.
Taking long pauses while I drink gin like a Londoner. All right. So, I do have to say that
Ugh.
if you've come back to watch, thank you. If you haven't, doesn't matter what I say. And we will jump back in to Unexpected Arrivals, our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition role-playing game. Still massaging the intro. All right.
Just don't do the misogyny.
No misogyny intros. I don't hear any music.
Holly, if you don't mind, start singing.
Oh, wait, no, I hear it now. No singing. Stop! Stop! All right. So, once I find the right stuff. All right. Welcome back, everyone. It's been several weeks, But much has happened, and we left off with quite a bit of things. I believe Holly said it best when she commented, I had to stop taking notes because so many things were happening. This from the person who showed us 5 notebooks to begin the stream today. There they are. Or 4 notebooks. Is it 4?
It is 4, but if you include the one I'm currently writing with, it's
That's
5.
definitely 5. All right. So if you'd like the entire transcript of our entire year and a half long of playing, it is available through Holly's Patreon, where she just takes notes about everything that happens in her life, and you can buy them. All right. That out of the way. Last session, our party returned from the Isle of Remnants after successfully capturing the elemental essence of the storm, a storm giant, there atop Darashan's tower. And in doing so, managed to charge the first of 4 key swords, which, once charged, can all be used in tandem to unlock the Temple of the Elders, which is an ancient ruin of elemental power worshipping race known as the Rirakul, or more colloquially known as the Forgotten Elves. They were the previous inhabitants of the largest sort of political city-state entity in this world called the Dracora Empire. Why does the party want to go there? What is their purposes there? Their hope is to use these swords to gain entry into the temple, and in doing so, acquire a relic of monumental power called the Staff of the Elders. It's been prophesied to be able to channel destructive forces of elemental chaos, and in doing so risks tearing rifts into the elemental planes themselves. But with this great power, they hope to return to Eredor, where they started their campaign, to right the wrongs of their past and hopefully set right any indiscretions that led to the death of almost all of their allies, and fairly directly allowed the creation of a lich. But that is much further down the road. So, upon successfully completing part 1 of what is seemingly 4-part adventure to charge all of the various key swords, the party returns to Chora, some of their home cities and currently their base of operations. To go about their business, the party split up, seemingly needing a bit of time away from each other. As they went about town, Roswell found herself in a collection of drunken sending spells, communicating with her father, whom we know is whom we know is actually trapped in the Temple of the Elders itself, having basically sacrificed himself to ensure that the temple was never reopened. Roswell, in these conversations, informed her father that she plans to open the temple and use the Staff of the Elders to right previous wrongs. There was no response to the latter part of her message. In the meantime, Tebrin, seeking out his love, Siora, checked at the Havel household, Siora being Kendra's sister, both of them nobility in the city of Chora itself and across the larger Dracora Empire. However, upon arriving there, Tebrin discovered that Kendra's mother had been taken into custody and is currently under investigation for treason against the Emperor. The servants all have been taken to the halls of Judition, and searches are underway throughout the city to find the 3 Havel children, Siora being one of them, and Kendra being another of them as well. Speaking of Kendra, after having mockingly disobeyed her patron's wishes during the fight on the Isle of Remnants, has had her punishment exacted from her flesh as she was accosted by demons that cornered her in an alley of the city.
Devils.
Devils. Thank you. They're all the same. I have it on authority.
That's
I won't. I won't.
They all look alike to me.
won't
I get what you're
digress.
saying.
I won't digress, but I played in the world that is canon before D&D published material, and in that world, demons and devils are essentially the same thing. They all come from the Dark Eight.
Wrong,
So,
wrong.
They are.
What
I've
does...
been right the whole time.
Wait, does that make... Wait a minute. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to get into this conversation.
We'll talk about it later. It is fascinating, but they all come from the same place. So, and after basically being beaten with an inch of her life, rescued by Sir Ivo and the valiant Nomarius, Kendra was warned that there are penalties for disobedience of your patron. However, in light of this warning, Kendra has begun the first steps at severing her bonds to her devil patron, Glacia. We will see how successful she is in that. Once the party finally reunited after being all over the place for that evening, they began to discuss their plans to next travel to the Glittering Barrens, where they know that the next source of elemental energy to charge these key swords lies, and found that they were being watched by a freelancer working for a righteous group known as the Virtues Reach, which is a private venture by
It's self-righteous.
by affluent people across the land to ensure that would-be heroes don't do more harm to the world than they do good. It goes without saying that this particular party is of high interest to this group, and through some quick thinking, spell casting, the party was able to convince this individual known as Tarnok that he should not turn them into the authorities at the moment with regards to the Havel investigation, and he has moved on his way, promising to be a watchful eye and perhaps a vengeful force should the characters go astray. And, as if things weren't complicated for the party enough, he also accused them of basically aligning themselves with various evil forces. Forces that wanted this temple open, that wanted the staff of the elders to once again become a force of destruction upon the world. And with that, as they tried to make a hasty but clandestine departure from where they were to evade the city guard, seeking out Kendra and Siora, a guest entered the sanctuary, his skin crawling, his eyes bloodshot, coursed over with black, as he uttered a single phrase before collapsing to the ground. He said, "I have something for you," and began with that tearing into his own stomach, collapsing as his skin crawled with worms onto the ground, the decaying body melting away further as the worms that readily consumed it start to convulse and pop on the ground, leaving stains of blackish ichor across the stone floor. And there, sitting in the center of what was this man's body, pristine and unsullied, the discarded key sword, which the players had left behind so many sessions ago. And that is where we will pick up our tale tonight. What do you wish to do as you find yourself in the lobby of the Brynheld Sanctuary?
I am going to gingerly walk towards the desiccated corpse, and I'm gonna pull my sword, and I'm gonna try to kind of fish the key sword out without touching it with my hand.
All right, easy enough. And you do notice that as you pull it up and out, the ichor on it seems to slide off, as if it's almost the blade itself is kind of resistant to any kind of soiling or dirtying, and as you kind of hook it on and out, just drips off, and you have it there, seemingly pristine, and nothing but a sort of very fast drying black stain is being left on the floor.
Convenient. All right. Which was this the rapier, by the way?
I don't remember.
What are the game stats for these brand new swords we've just got? I would like to immediately equip one just to see.
I think this was the rapier, yeah.
I don't remember anymore what Karut had.
I believe it was the rapier for
Yes.
moving forward sake.
We'll say it's a rapier. Also, the type of sword matters absolutely nothing to the plot.
Not the
It's
plot.
about the use rather than the
yeah,
plot.
the equipping.
Yeah. All right. I will return my moonblade to its sheath and
Merge the two. Merge them.
just hold the rapier out in the general direction of the party. Well, I
I've seen it
mean,
in the cartoon,
I
you
have
can
my
just push them
sword. Does
together.
somebody else want a sword?
Who? This is really disturbing that it got delivered to us.
Oh yes, this is bad. But also, we do have this sword, so
It's an error on their part. Do you understand that evil wants us to believe we're doing their bidding, but at no point are we corrupted by their touch? Even Kendra herself is resisted in manners that, well, come with repercussion. But we are not their pawns, so them giving us that's a tactical error. Excellent.
That sounded good, but it ended a little evil.
I'm sorry.
I think that's just the way we are, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Please,
But
please, I'm the best.
well, I mean, it's either that or there are plans within plans, and this is something else that's baiting us towards whatever. But I think we've decided that we're going to charge these, so we'll deal with things as they come, which is my preferred method of operation anyway.
Yep, he definitely told us that he wants us to open it so he can have the staff.
No, then
what he
we
said.
we don't give him the staff.
Yeah. Another problem for another day. We're
It'll be
probably gonna
fine.
having a
Easy
demon.
peasy lemon squeezy. Like, just
Just don't give it to him.
Why are you squeezing lemons? What the?
do you not like lemonade? A nice fresh lemon slice in your beer?
No. In beer?
Anyway, I
Anyway,
think we have other things
Jeffrey's
we need
still
to
just
do.
like standing there, just like the rapier like hanging off a few fingers.
I believe I had the which one do you have, Nomarius? The long sword or the short sword?
I have. Dun, 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 by clicking
Again, not that it
button, I
matters
should
that
know.
much right now, but because I
Well,
believe
Marius also has the charged one.
correct.
Crap, I called it key sword, so I have no idea. Hold on.
Well, it's doing a D8.
It is a long sword. It is versatile. I'm just not using it as such.
Okay. But I mean, regardless, this is a +1 weapon. So if
Okay.
anybody would like a +1 rapier, speak now.
I'd love a +1 rapier.
I turn towards my girlfriend and give her the rapier.
I think I had the short sword.
I would love a +1 short sword.
No, you can't have both.
Oh. Well, it would be cool, right? Just have.
Yeah. Hey, just super cool. So we need to go,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Correct. We are to disguise them as babies and leave.
Was I able to? Was I able to get that thing I wanted to get, Casey?
That is going to be a slightly more complicated question, which involves rolling. So, you all plan on leaving. Is there anything you wish to do before you leave?
Before we leave the sanctuary, I want to take a moment in the garden and cast Word of Recall so we can return if need be.
All right. Easily enough done. For those of you
All
who don't
right.
know, the spell allows a cleric, probably I think it's just a cleric, clerics to basically teleport back to their place of worship, somewhere very closely tied to their deity should things go astray.
Yeah, so I take a moment, pull out my needle and thread, do machinations. Even though it's only a verbal thing, I like the ceremony of it. It's fine. I like playing with thread. It's and it's done.
Excellent. The spell
Mhm.
hath been cast, and the
I'm-
Ridheld Sanctuary is a perfectly good place for that.
I intend to draft a letter and send it off to my retinue who are still in the city. I need to release them from my service officially so that they are not embroiled in some sort of conspiracy against the Empire. I'm going to do so with my signet ring and have instruction, actually not even instruction since I'm releasing them, but rather a,
Request.
well, just not even a request. I think they should maybe go back to our homeland. But of course, they're free to now do what they wish as they're released from my house back there. But I don't want them arrested and caught up in some sort of false accusations, which seem to be very believable by all of our NPC, all of the people around here. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that officially.
All right. So easy enough. And are you delivering that in person or?
No,
Do you like to
I'm
have-
having a runner go there. I have
Okay. Not hard to do at
I'll even
all.
detail that I have been falsely accused and thus have come to the point where I must release you lest you also be embroiled in this ridiculousness.
Perfect.
So if it were intercepted, it would be like a poke in the eye, like
All right.
I don't put that part in there.
And also, fuck you, whoever's reading this.
So,
Dear Warden, stop going through my mail.
Holly?
I like to do divination.
Okay. I like long walks on the beach. Anyone else sharing facts about themselves?
I'm
You
a
looking to
Scorpio.
cast the spell divination? Is that what you're
Yes,
getting
I
at?
would like to cast the spell divination. And do you need me to link it?
I am
Always.
opening it up right now.
All the ways linked.
All right.
So I will light my incense.
All right. All right. So you need incense and a
Face.
sacrificial offering. Ooh. Sorry, I disconnected. I believe.
Possibly.
You
I feel
need incense and a sacrificial offering appropriate to your religion. So what are you offering?
See, I don't know exactly.
I wouldn't
You're gonna
stress-
burn a book.
I wouldn't stress too
Oh.
much about this.
I
Worth
don't
at least
know.
25 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. So,
25 gold.
all right. Easy enough. A symbol of civilization and structure and order. Commerce. Easy enough.
Yes. Okay. So, my question. What challenges do we face in charging the key sword in the Glittering Barrens?
Akira, we do not know which that guards the key swords.
Single question is the GM offers a truthful reply.
Adversity. No.
A cryptic rhyme or an omen.
Oh, here we go.
I love it when it says that kind of stuff.
It's a riddle.
So, the reply that you get back says the greatest obstacle you will face is your conscience and what you are willing to sacrifice.
Look at Tebrin.
Didn't rhyme.
The greatest challenge is your conscience.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria. She broke
And
in.
what?
Hi.
Maria's trying to let us know it's not me, it's Mew.
Yeah, come here. Come on. You want to go outside? But not really outside? Like out of the streaming room? Yeah. There you go. Come on. Hi.
DM needs to roll her focus statistic. Oh, fail. Critical fail.
The door doesn't latch, so.
You just start barricading the door against
I'm
your cat.
literally putting something that's barricading the door so she can't push it open. She's probably going to be successful at this. Alright, I am back. Maria is none too happy about
Yes,
that
who's
Uh
divination message.
huh.
Back again.
Divination's back. Alright.
All right.
Alright. Kendra, you wished to attempt to purchase a magical item.
Yes.
But there are several questions here. Remind me what the item you wish to purchase is.
The item is,
And its
one
rarity.
moment while I scroll up, Amulet of Proof Against Detection and Location. It is uncommon.
All right.
You've got a Luna.
This
So,
is gonna go real well.
You're unable to locate
you
the item.
you do know that there
You can't
are
find it.
so you do know that there are there's sort of above the counter legalized magical item vendors, those such as Astrea at Finding Finer Things and others. But having lived in the city and in the Empire, you know that magic items, typically those of kind of uncommon and higher rarities, are all sales of which are reported back to the Empire. That being said, there are black market channels which typically take longer and are more expensive, but you could acquire items that
But there's
are
the-
unknown.
The Amulet show loophole. If you go to a show, right, they don't have to.
So, with that information, how would you like to proceed with this?
I would like to send a party member to get it for me.
All right.
Is this coming out of party loot, as in money wise?
I mean, I can pay for it individually, depending on the price.
But are you?
I can do, I don't care. Or you can use party loot.
Is
you can
there
use
enough for
money.
everybody?
Yes.
We should
have
get
like
7 of these or whatever.
we have like 5,000 gold or something. Or I don't know.
I don't think we have that much.
We have an amount of money.
I heard it's cheaper by the
Thanks.
dozen.
Party
We have
loot.
20
We have
we have about
2,500 gold. And then we have like 1,000 gold and diamonds.
well, but the 300 and 500 aren't up for anything. That's spell components.
Do you need a 500 gold piece diamond?
If you
Yes.
die, you really will.
Yeah, the
Oh, do you
diamonds are
actually?
non-negotiable.
Oh, you actually need them
Do you
that
do you
price?
need the you need the 50 ones as well?
There
You
are
need the 50 ones
two
for like Revivify.
spells. There's Revivify, which is the smaller amount, and then there's Raise.
So the diamonds are off the table.
The diamonds are off the table. Yeah.
Okay.
Raise what?
Children successfully.
Believe
Wait, no, but
is
I think that's a very high level
Alpaca.
spell.
Raise Dead. Raise Dead is 500 gold, and Revivify, I believe, is
Like 50 for Revivify.
300. So 300 and 500. So yeah.
So,
For some reason, I thought Raise Dead was like a thrall thing. Like, you get like a zombie thing. So I was
Oh,
like, okay,
yeah.
I was like, when is she ever going to need a zombie? But no, it's like reviving.
when
Yeah.
isn't she gonna need a zombie? All right. So,
All right, that's fine. And also, that half plate we had, was that just a regular half plate or was it +1? It was just regular. Casey, can you confirm?
I don't. If it's not written down in your inventory, it is.
Well, you
it's
never-
written
you never
down as
have.
+1.
It's written down as +1.
Well, then it's +1.
Okay.
I have it written as +2. What?
All your items are now cursed.
How much is +1 half plate worth?
So
One. Does anybody want it? If not,
I would like to encourage us doing inventory management, like not in our sessions, but outside.
well, we're not doing it in sessions.
Just give us 1.5 hours. And we'll
I'm
be done.
asking if we can sell it.
You can certainly try to sell it.
But I'm asking now if anybody wants it. Going once, going twice. We're selling it for however much you want to sell it for.
Does anyone else wear metal armor?
No.
I'm just like, who? No.
All right,
I do not coo.
You said that you were interested in attempting to send another party member to purchase this for you. I believe that would involve a consenting member of your party.
Ciora.
I can do this.
All right, and
But I think that everybody else should start heading out of the city while I do.
I agree with this.
It takes. Casey was saying that it sometimes can take some time to get the item because it needs to be made.
yeah, most magical items, especially if you're like, I want this specific thing, they don't keep these things in stock, so they have to be basically crafted. They have to be crafted and then enchanted.
That sounds like a character class I'm going to make. Crafted.
Yes. So, depending on who you go to and how busy they are, it could take upwards of 1d6 plus 1 days. Or
Years.
weeks, sorry.
I have a question. From when I was in Finding Finer Things, did I get the impression that she had other branches? Because it seemed like she was leaving through portals and coming back. So were those portals off into like pocket dimensions, or is she franchised?
Make an Arcana check.
Oh boy.
She's got a
It's
red and
pretty-
yellow hat.
Pretty low DC.
Name tag.
This is not my forte. Where's Arcana? Oh,
All right. So,
17.
Who
you
are
were
you?
kind of
I don't know.
vexed by the peculiar nature of it, as she did kind of come and go through her the portal in the back, and you, through talking to people and sort of piecing it together yourself, she has stores in almost every major city across the entire continent, and they're all connected through there, and she alone mans almost all of the stores, and so there's different inventory in different places.
Okay. So hypothetically, we could say, hey, we want to get this thing, but can we pick it up in such and such city? And we can...
You can hypothetically say whatever you would like. So we
So-
can manage to go to Estrella and Finding Finer Things.
So do you want me to go and see if she can enchant this? And like, I don't know. The thing is that like, we could go to Veselar.
I would like this amulet. How
And, like-
we achieve this is at your discretion. Godspeed.
If we have the funds, I think we should get that amulet for everybody. who
I
can.
Yeah, I agree on that.
So attempt
So
it. We
I
trust
just-
you.
That means we're making the decision to go to Veselar. If
Well,
anybody has any dissenting opinions, speak now.
Can you on the map ping where that is? I thought we were headed to the Glittering Barrens
Well,
in the city of schools.
It is sort of on the way there. It's not
Yeah,
directly
it's
on the way there.
A little bit out of our way, but not super.
Okay.
Side mission.
I do have another convent there too, if we need
Okay,
it.
so that's what we're doing. I am going to do something that I have never done before
Speak to people.
in this entire game, and I am going to use this background feature. And I am going to
Mustache.
You just put a hat on.
I am going to assume my false identity,
All right.
which is let's see, what do I have written down?
A vocal
A-
tabaxi.
I have a blind elven minstrel named Marith,
Oh, good.
and I am going to so I'm going to do the things necessary to assume this. I'm going
What's
to
your
send
name again?
everybody else Marith. And so he like kind of disguises himself a bit, uses his disguise kits. Like it's obvious that he's done this many times before. And so when he's done, you see what appears to be kind of an older elven man. You can tell that he's kind of playing to the fact that drow don't have visible pupils, and so like just kind of taking advantage of that. And kind of an older elven man with darker skin, dressed in kind of worn traveling clothes. He kind of packs away everything except for his daggers, which he hides, but everything else he kind of packs away into his bag and gives to Siora.
Siora
and-
noticeably is just sort of like,
And he kind of like pulls out a staff and starts tapping his way towards finding finer things while everybody else leaves the city.
all right.
Yeah, I
So-
think we should be making our way to horses or whatnot.
Yeah, and you can procure riding horses easily enough that will be fit for the journey, which you're guessing are the price that they are in the player's handbook. So if somebody wants to look that up, riding horses or draft horses or whatever you would like, that's what they cost. So since you've been there before, it is no trouble even while pretending to be blind, although it does take slightly longer to get there. You find yourself in front of the quirky magic shop, Finding Finer Things, and as you sort of bump your way through the front door, hits a little bell that rings, and you are greeted by kind of like a flurry of feathers as the pigeons inside just sort of just readjust themselves. Again, you notice that all of them have various different colored collars around their necks. There's nobody inside, but after a moment, there's a flash of light that you see sort of through the cracks of the door behind, and then the door like swings open, and then standing there is Estrella, who you've met before. And then as soon as she sort of realizes that you're blind, her posture sort of like slumps down a little bit and then steps forward. Welcome, welcome. What can I do for you? You're in need of perhaps a feathered companion. Nights lonely, perhaps? Take two.
Actually, could be very interesting. I would be very interested in that, but it's not why I'm here. And he kind of like starts tapping his way forward and like purposefully stumbles a little bit and like rights himself and
Make
kind
a
of
performance
comes
check for me.
uncomfortably close to her. That's more like it.
All right. As you get closer, you feel that there's no real discomfort on her part. She just sort of. And what exactly is this that you're after?
Well, you see, I have found myself in a little bit of a predicament, and kind of like conspiratorially like lays a hand on her arm and leans forward, and he says, "You see, the Fae are after me, and I need to hide from them."
Oh. They are quite mercurial creatures.
Very tricksy.
Very tricksy. And how are you looking for some sort of safe house or?
More like, well, I mean, you know, I travel around so much. I was looking for something a little bit more portable, some sort of, I've heard, you know, and like he also, oh no, he doesn't have that. I forgot he didn't have an instrument. A bard without an instrument. He says, well, I travel here and there listening to stories, telling stories. And so I've heard, rumors here and there about kinds of amulets that can hide the wearer from magic and, those sorts of things.
Ah, yes, they are certainly coveted amongst those who want to get away from fairies or whatever. Yes. Do you mind a moment? I can see if I have anything like that.
And he kind of glances around. He says, just make it quick. It's not good to stay in one place for too long.
I agree. I am needed in Colothune. Just one moment. She sort of just steps back through the portal. Pigeon kind of flaps down, just lands up, sort of looks at you, just kind of stares at you.
I accept this.
And a few minutes pass, and then the pigeon's eyes kind of glow, and it opens its beak, and Estrella's sort of voice comes out. Just one moment, please. I'll be right back. Just taking care of another customer. And another minute or so goes back, and then the pigeon just and then just sort of goes off, head bobbing across to the other side. It's not something that I currently have in stock. Can you roll me a D100, please?
100 of those, please.
4.
All right.
400 of those, please.
Not something I currently have in stock, or at least that I remember that I have in stock, but it seems simple enough. Do you have any sort of particular heirloom or amulet or something that you wish to be enchanted? As a lot of people pick something near and dear to themselves because it ingratiates the feeling of the magic upon them when they attune to it, but we can fit you with something else if need be. I have some trinkets and baubles that will likely do just the trick that you're looking for.
Well, I'm just a wandering bard. I'm afraid I don't have much to my name.
All right. Well, I think it'll take me probably about, let's see. She flips through her book. About 3 days or so in order to get this enchanted. Backlog and everything.
Well, I'm leaving the city tonight. You do recognize the seriousness of this situation. But I am heading towards Vessular if there's any way for me to pick it up there.
I do have several locations in Vessular, after all. It is the magical capital of the whole entire world, or at least the world that I know of, or at least just this world in which I operate. I don't have a business license in many of the other planes beyond. It's terribly hard to get that sort of thing.
Tebrit nods all of this makes perfect sense.
So, 2 days from now, pick up in Vessular, and I will need for magical enchantments, because it is, just completely coming from my enchantment power. It does drain a bit of me. I put a little bit of myself into everything that I create. It just makes it that much better. And she kind of strokes the head of a pigeon. Just kind of pecks away down at the table. So, issue of payment. How do you plan on paying for this?
Oh, well, I've got the tips I've got along the way.
Well, hopefully you're very good at whatever you do. So, an item of this nature, she reaches under and sort of opens a cabinet, and then sort of whoosh, this book floats out with a mage hand carrying it and gets set down, and the mage hand rifles through the pages. She just sort of looks on. It's going to be, I would say for an expediency and remote delivery, 500 gold pieces. payment in advance.
All right. And he kind of like makes a show of like fumbling around again, and then like pulls out like multiple like bags where the money has gotten split like all over his person. And I think when he was taking money from the party loot as well, he didn't take all gold, so there's like a fair amount of like copper and silver, and he just starts kind of fumbling and kind of slowly counting out the 500 gold.
All right. She dutifully waits. Another pigeon just flies up on your shoulder and just like looks down.
I clumsily try to pet it.
Right, you just kind of knock it off and it flies away. She just cocks her head a little bit. No, that's fine. One less. No, too many. That was 3. And perfect. All right. Well, we will have this too. And one last order of business. Reaches out on the bookshelf beside her and pulls out. I need to register this purchase, especially for these types of items. Those who need to know, especially in the city of Decor, must follow the regulations. So I'm going to need your name, place of residence, and
Okay, I will come up and fumble around and like kind of like feel around for the pen for a minute and like miss it a couple of times and then pick it up, and I will register it under Merith Aelrindel.
You read quite well for a blind man. How did you lose your sight?
He just like very, very slowly looks up at her and he says, "The Fae are very tricksy."
Oh.
And then turns
well,
back.
I may be able to just cure the blindness. It might be substantially less expensive. I mean, have you tried any sort of restorative magic? It does wonders for the complexion as well.
He like kind of like rears back and he's like, magic on things is one thing. Magic on a person is something else.
Well, to each their own. So for pickup in Vestular in no sooner than 2-3 days' time. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
And he kind of heads out and then like turns back when he's partway through the door and like kind of almost timidly goes, "And the birds?
They're for sale."
"For how much?"
"Well, depends. How much do you want for one?"
"I'm not sure what that question means."
"Well, I have all sorts of levels of, value amongst them. They all look the same to you, but to me, no. Some are worth far more."
"Well, I mean, I am just a humble wandering bard, so..." And he kind of like gestures at himself again. He says, I am what I am. I live a very simple life."
"Well, then perhaps you need a very simple bird." She walks over and just sort of like grabs one off the shelf, sort of looks at it, kind of has like a dull gray pewter color. She sort of holds it out and like brings your hands up and kind of like stuffs it into your hand and kind of like curls your hands around it. "How does that one feel to you?"
I bring the bird up to my face.
It shits on your hand.
Oh.
He has no visible reaction and just kind of nods. "This is right."
All right. Well, that one is 15 gold. I don't name any of them because I don't have any sort of pretense to know what they really would like to be called, but I'm sure if you perhaps ask your fairy friends, they can tell you.
He like starts looking much shiftier and then puts the bird on his shoulder and digs out the 15 gold.
Thank you. And one thing to note about these birds, if you would perhaps like to find a finer thing, where sometimes the finer things you find have wings, simply remove the collar. If you wish the finer thing to go back to the little rat with wings, simply put the collar back on. Warranty is void once the collar is removed.
Puzzled for a moment over what kind of warranty you would have on a bird, and then kind of like pets the bird's little head and begins awkwardly, slowly tapping his way back out of the shop and out of the city to wherever I agreed to meet the party.
It coos at a regular interval in your ear the entire time.
And has somebody accounted for the money and party loot?
So you spent 550 gold.
No, not yet.
And I will remove it. $550.
Make a perception check, Tabern.
The second I am accounting for gold spent.
As you are traveling through districts of the city that have a fairly high
14.
All right. Looking around, you do notice that the presence of city guard is slightly higher, and since you've been to the city before and sort of know your way around investigations and sort of like what happens in the process of law, you notice that there is the Inquisitor Direct is sort of like the entity that is like, it's not like the city guard that actually does the investigations. The Inquisitor Direct is kind of the organization in it, and you do see that there are men whom you think are part of that being escorted by city guard kind of going around. There's not like a huge presence of them, but you do notice them on your way there, and they occasionally stop and question people, etc.
Okay. I am just going to continue to hobble my way out of the city.
All right. So, all of you meet back up. A blind man with a pigeon on his shoulder approaches. Fire.
I am not dropping, like, he's still doing it. He's not stopping. He kind of, like, taps his way into the center of the group.
We have paid for enough horses for the party, is that correct? Does someone
If you
account
would like
for that?
to, yes. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if you get one for the pigeon, 7.
I think the pigeon can share with me.
All right, so that accounted for. Where do wish you to travel?
I guess Vesluar.
All right.
Wow, you echoed.
So
I said it weird.
you begin to travel south. The trip to Vesular is about 5 or 6 days on horseback. The roads are very well kept and maintained, as Vesular and Chora are the two largest cities in the Dracora Empire. Vesular on the coast, whereas Chora is more inland, located on a river, surrounded by farmlands. So, your way there is interrupted by a question from Akira.
Just on our way out of the city, what I don't want to go up to one if I do find one, but is there posters of the wanted signs and any information? No? Okay.
It's not the Wild West.
Okay.
What about lost puppies?
All right, so commence your ride towards Vesular, and Roswell, this is sort of your home city, if you will. Vesular, the city itself, especially from a distance, is sort of you have to ride basically up a slow sloping area, and the city is built into sort of various tiers of cliffside looking out upon the ocean to the west. It's punctuated with quite a few much taller towers. The architecture here is substantially different than in Chora, which is a little bit more of kind of like a Mediterranean feel. This has much more of a arcane, fantastical nature to it. And the tallest tower in it that you see, Roswell, you do recognize this as part of the Bremeraldi School of Divination and Abjuration, which is kind of the premier magic establishment in this area. city is sprawling, but nowhere near as big as Chora, and has probably the heart of its commerce as you come in is all along on the lowest sort of tier of these mountains, going down all along docks and ships, and they seem basically to have a very vibrant sort of trade up and along the coast. And you can, out in the horizon, you'd see it is dotted with islands and such going through. So, it's 5 or 6 days later, and you have arrived the Bremeraldi school, or not the Bremeraldi, at Vesular. What would you like to do while
And you
are
say
here?
there will be 5 to 6 amulets waiting for us? Excellent.
I mean, I've said no such thing. You can presume whatever you'd like.
Well, we requested one for everybody.
That is not something that we can afford.
Well, I'm willing to sell my horse.
All right. So, do you wish to spend time here, or do you just want to pick up your magic item and continue onwards?
Karut is here.
You don't know that.
Sure is. Probably.
This is where Karut is from. You don't know that he's here.
We know that he went here.
He is
Because
from here, yes.
He told us he went here.
We
Could
know that
have
this-
lied.
there's some
But-
celestials being housed here potentially. While tempted to take everyone to my favorite tavern, the Painted Otter, but I realized that's probably not a great idea.
My
Even-
vote is to continue.
They make these little crostinis that are just so good.
We shouldn't even enter the city excepting for Tebrin to pick up the item. It's a matter of agents of the crown who probably are loyal and patriotic would try to impede us based on false accusation.
While you're traveling and sort of on the outskirts of the city having this conversation, are you doing anything to conceal your appearance and identities?
I think Tebrin has been doing it for the Havels the whole time. For everybody else, like, I don't know, but like...
Just cloak. Hood up, cloak.
But like Tebrin's been doing like full disguise kit on both the Havels every morning.
All right. Give me 2 disguise kit rolls. First one is for Kindra. Second one is for Ciara. We'll just consider
Alright.
that sort of the blanket roll for this.
Dexterity. That's
Charisma.
thieves' tools.
Charisma.
Really good roll though.
Charisma.
You lockpick their nose.
Charisma.
Charisma. Yeah.
22 for Kendra.
All right.
Only 15 for Ciara.
All right. I will now roll a d20 for the 8,000 people that you've passed here right now. Okay. Good to know. Anyone else? Identity concealing?
I
Aside
think I
from-
probably would have braided my hair differently and cloak up. Like, tried to make my... I can't disguise too much, but just braided differently, maybe put some of my vestment, like, haven't totally changed, but just maybe did some different things to try.
All right.
I think Tebrin has also re-drowed. So like any, like all of the kind of more brightly colored aspects of his clothes, he's just kind of removed. So he looks a lot more like buttoned up and a bit more like he's in uniform. Casey is gone.
I am still here. I was just temporarily slowed in my connection to you all.
Time stop is a high level spell, but good
It
job.
is. I am a level 9 spellcaster. Or a level 20 spellcaster who can cast 9th level spells. Alright, so. And you're sending Tebrin in to pick this up?
Yes. Reassuming our
I
favorite blind minstrel.
Sure. If we want some help, I can go in because I know the city.
I mean, I think it's best if we just let the entire thing be attached to this face.
Okay.
I would like to.
Yes, Demarius.
During the travels, like you had asked if we were doing anything to disguise us, I would like to enlist Roswell's help. I would like a small custom fit knit cover for my family emblem on my shield. It is a small part of the shield, not as prominent as Heronius. And actually, now that I think about it, that shield haven't been in use for a while because I'm using the weird shield. However, I would do so for my armor as well. There's going to be small insignias that are metal emblazoned, accoutrement for my armor that has both my religion and my house, etc., etc. Just small little knit covers or whatever you could do.
Yeah, I can do
that
some
I can
like
fasten it like a gun wrap or something. Just
sure. I'll do like a generic but intricate design that like looks like it would match things like ivy or leaves or whatever. Kind of like I'm talking to you, you let me know what would be the opposite of whatever your family might have, whatever.
no tutti frutti. We need primary colors.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like I can do like axes or whatever, just simple. But I would do it happily while writing.
All right.
What a crooked-looking shield. Okay.
No, it's amazing. Don't doubt me.
I'm sure it will be. Thank you, Roswell.
Kendra, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Great.
All right, noted. You feel something try to push into your mind for a second, not to take control, but it's just like this odd sensation of being watched. But you feel like you just shrug it off, as like you would if you were out in the street and you saw somebody coming that you didn't want to see you, and you just kind of ducked back into an alley and they kind of walked by. You get that sense okay, that has passed. All right, Tebrin, you managed to find your way through the streets of Vesular. Has Tebrin ever been to Vesular before?
No, he has not.
All right.
But
So-
he's in the guise of the bard again, so he's just gonna.
You are caught up a bit at how previously you'd sort of thought that it's the Dracora Empire, how different can all these cities be? But just sort of taking in the general sort of roll to vibe-ness of all of the people there, you get the sense that this is a much more erudite area, and the percentage of people that are kind of dressed as scholars or mages or that sort of thing are substantially higher than anywhere else you've seen in the world. And there's universities, both arcane and not, around. There's sort of areas where the free discourse of ideas is happening. You can see people out. All of them have books. There's debates going on and that sort of thing. So it kind of catches you a little bit off guard.
Tebrin becomes progressively more uncomfortable the deeper he gets into the city.
Yeah, and you do find kind of in the heart, nestled between several of the smaller schools, there is Finding Finer Things, Vesular branch, and you enter. There are less pigeons here, but looks like space for more, as if pigeon sales are going well here. And
I still have my pigeon, by the way, on my shoulder.
all you see is a box, sat just very faintly gift wrapped there, and you go over and
I do not go over.
okay.
I don't know it's there. So I note it, and then I step into the center of the shop and I wait for someone.
All right. 5 or 10 minutes pass, and then sort of you hear the familiar kind of flash, this time coming from sort of the side. There's a long hallway that has a couple of different doors off of it, and through one of the doors, silly me. I figured I would just leave your pickup here, but, you know, the fairies might have gotten it. So she kind of goes over and picks up the box and kind of pushes it into your arms. Here it is, exactly as you requested. This should keep pesky prying fairy eyes away from you. Though it doesn't make you invisible, they should have all sorts of trouble if they try to use any divination magic on you.
He kind of like fumbles with it for a second to try to like tuck it under his arm, and then like very, very warmly just like clasps her hand and like just like leans in and is like, "Thank you. You've saved my life."
Make a deception roll.
I mean, maybe she has saved my life. I don't know what the fucking demons are gonna do to me.
They're devils.
29.
All right. She kind of shakes your hand sort of vigorously, and then lays another hand on your shoulder. It's the least I can do. I've had a sordid history with the fairies myself, and well, fuck those little guys. She sort of
Fuck those little guys, he says with feeling.
she sort of takes a step back. Well, anything else I can help you with?
No, you've done more than enough. And he kind of sweeps a bit of a bow, and with the pigeon kind of like scrambling back to stay on its shoulder. And my cat was just on the counter, which is not where she's supposed to be. And then clumsily taps his way back out.
All right. So, after probably about 6 or 8 hours of waiting on the outskirts, because I mean, it's starting at the outskirts of the city to go all the way in, pretending you're blind, and coming all the way back out takes a fair bit of time, even on horseback. And while you are all there, you're sort of off the side of the road. You do notice that there is what looks to be a patrol of sorts. There are 2 men dressed in very kind of crimson robes that are all fringed with gold along them, and sort of wearing a kind of large, wide brown belt around them. Roswell, you recognize these as the Decoran Empire's arcanists. These are the mages of the greatest repute that are basically employed by the military. They're like the specialists, and they appear to be going through and questioning just people somewhat randomly on the street, and occasionally you do see them on some of the slightly sketchier looking people. You do see them actually casting spells. What would you guys like to do?
I think we should keep moving and maybe just circle very warily. I don't know, I'm not good at this. I can't lie. Oh.
Just walk away like normal people that are leaving.
Gonna pull my cloak in tighter.
All right.
We definitely panic.
I want all of you to make charisma stealth checks to see if you can act normal.
What does that even mean?
So you add your charisma your charisma modifier plus if you're proficient in stealth plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay, so I can just click like a
Charisma.
non-proficient charisma skill.
Just the word charisma.
Or just the word charisma. If you're not proficient in stealth. Otherwise you add your bonus. And I need all of the people that aren't tempered to do that.
Wait. Am I still at negative to stealth because of armor or something?
I will say not for this check. The armor doesn't. This is just like how nonchalant can you be?
Johnny Average.
All right. So overall, not too bad.
I rolled an 11.
Yeah.
For the
So we're just going for like total group score. So you do
Oh.
pass, and you manage to kind of slip away nonchalantly. Congratulations, you've all rolled for nonchalance now.
Haha.
And after about 6 hours or so, a blind man taps his way back to you, carrying a box under his arm.
During this time, while we're
Blind
on the
and
edge-
mute. Blind and
I hand the box off to Kindra.
I would like to open the box.
All right, inside you find an amulet. There are 3 gemstones set in it, 2 emeralds that flank a sapphire, so green, blue, green on it. The chain is kind of a brightish gold. Looking at it, it's not particularly, it doesn't look like particularly valuable jewelry in the actual like jewels itself. However, it is enchanted as the item you desired, but does require attunement. So, and you can only be attuned to 3 magical items. So, if you
Yes.
are already attuned to something else, you will need to remove it.
I am not.
I'll cast not detection on Siora.
All right,
For 8
it'll
hours.
last for 8 hours. Yep. Ciara kind of like looks over your shoulder expectantly, and then she sort of like sees it, and she just sort of like, Kendra, I don't think that's gonna match.
Think it'll be okay, hon.
I'll be fine.
It does match her head staying on her shoulders.
Good
Well, I
point.
mean, I guess there's not too much high society in the Glittering Barrens, so we should be fine. Just, I mean, anyone's gonna know you're trying to hide from somebody if you. Never mind. If you, it's beautiful. Shall
I'm
we?
so happy you're with us.
Me too, Roswell. It was lonely when all of you went away.
Mm-hmm. Sure was. So anyway, Roswell's been kind of like looking in just for any signs, like not going into the city, but just like anytime somebody comes around, she's like looking to see if she recognizes anybody.
Make an investigation roll. You feel that you have very thoroughly looked over a whole bunch of people that you don't recognize.
Yeah, I figured we're a little more.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
quite far enough into the city where you.
Well, even so, though, I always pictured it being kind of on the out, like not quite in the city, but like right outside it, like surrounded by some farmland and stuff like that. But again,
Yeah.
we're probably not. I know full well we're not.
Yeah, the city itself is walled in, and so there's actually substantially less farmland around Vesular, whereas Chora is just farmland as far as the eye can see. There's
Yeah.
some, but you get the sense that they get a lot of their stuff comes down river from Chora
Mm-hmm.
and out that
Yeah.
way. So the docks are sort of the main influx of all of that. All right, so we proceeding southward towards the Glittering Barrens. Keep in mind, you've been traveling for 6 days now upon leaving.
Roswell, please, just at least describe the library to me. I've never been to Vesular before.
Well, I didn't really go to the library.
What?
I mean, like there was a bar called the Library. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't. I was too busy learning how to birth and help people die and weaving, so I didn't have much time for books. So why don't we spend this time on the horses? You telling me about all the books that you've read.
Oh my
Tell me your
God.
favorite, and then we can go down. So this is part of.
You hear an
Well-
audible groan from Ciora, who's several horses behind you.
Sure. I also imagine this conversation also happened well before we hit Vesular.
There's lots of complaining going on, okay? I don't have any notebooks. Oh my god.
Tell me
I
about that.
totally wish that I would have gotten like an Orcs for Dummies book or something. Or maps. Oh my god, maps are useful. Maps are so useful. I don't even think we even have like a real actual like detailed map of each city. And I think that would be really, really
I
useful.
would like to walk like 40 feet ahead.
Your horse walks underneath you so that you stay on the horseback.
City zagettes, or something like knowing where all the places are. The top places, the best places.
Yeah. So also during this time, while I haven't changed it on my sheet right now, I think I've also would have prepared crate food and water for us on our way.
All right.
So that way we would have, been taken care of.
So as we begin heading further south, we will travel for another. You already traveled for 6 days. It's probably about another 8 to 10 days going until you reach what is sort of the edge of the Glittering Barrens. And as you travel south, you pass familiar rolling hills and painted with farm shades of green that you've always been accustomed through in your travels through Decorah. And slowly, as the days go by, the frequency of farmland begins to dwindle as the environment itself becomes more arid. The dry air kind of gives you a bit of pause as you feel yourself getting slightly more and more dehydrated. The water skin becomes much more your friend as you head further south. After the majority of your travel, you notice that the fertile soil is transitioning now to a mixture of clays and sand and loose rock, and the well-maintained road itself becomes this winding earthen trail snaking between these ever-growing plateaus and outcroppings of rock around you. In these few days, as you enter the fringes of the Glittering Barrens, you see breathtaking landscapes of beiges and oranges and dark reds and browns, just layered like stripes across the faces of these cliffs that punctuate the Badlands. Though sparse grass and other vegetation is readily found, especially in patches where the natural valleys form, granting in these valleys some semblance of shelter against the harsh winds, which you're starting to notice just kind of tear their way across. It's not a constant thing, but when a storm whips up, wind and sand is kind of blasted across the terrain. So, as you push deeper in, I'm going to move you to our handy dandy Vesular. Oh, I can't do it on that one. Or not Vesular. That was our detour. Our new splash screen. So you can get a sense for the terrain around you. So, you follow the main road as it goes into this smaller trail that winds in and around the mountains. And after another couple of days, you've been traveling for nigh on about 2 weeks now. You see that the road makes its way into a small town. And though as you near this town, you see no signs of light or inhabitants, and at the edge, just a tired sign that reads Prosperity Settlement, Gateway to the Glittering Barrens. As your horses slow to a trot, walking the streets, you see the doorways on either side sort of just kind of swaying open in the breezes. The grimy windows are worn and blasted by sand. Debris litters the streets and alleys, and seems that any item even of dubious value has long since been scavenged away. Each building is as vacant as the next, as if the whole town were drawn room by room in a sweeping, unfinished painting that was then forgotten and stored away in an attic, only to collect dust. The center of the town stands a dry well. The rope which supported its bucket is parted and frayed and just sort of dances in the wind. You find yourself in the center of the first of what you have heard of many ghost towns in this area. An area that was once booming with people, but since the land no longer seems prosperous in the gem trade, there's no reason to be here, and so people have left. As you kind of take in the scene and pause for a moment, a little bit disheartened that the well itself is dry, off in the distance, about half a mile out from the edge of town, you see a circle of flying creatures, larger than songbirds, but not unnaturally so, just sort of very large birds. And one by one, they kind of slowly spiral down and descend to the ground, out past the next ridge. And then, looking out as you kind of observe that for a moment, you see off to the west a long, slowly rising cloud of dust growing from the trail as if something or someone is making great haste towards the horizon away from you. What would you like to do?
Away from us.
Wait, so do we have any idea, is it too far away to see what's making the cloud of dust?
Yeah, all you can see is the dust. You can barely make out that it's still on the road.
And it's going away from us.
Correct.
Okay.
It's probably probably about a mile away from you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hate all of this, but I feel like we should probably know what the scavenging birds are going for.
Really the only other thing we see moving here, huh?
A tumbleweed just drives.
Oh, chasing that seems like a solid choice. Or the birds.
Yeah,
I mean, or we could try to catch up with whoever that is.
I don't know if that's the smartest idea. Though I am interested in who would be out here.
Well, we could.
Do I have a sense of whether it would be, of how difficult it would be to catch up with somebody who is a mile away and seems to be moving at full gallop?
The horses that you purchased are great for plodding along, but they're not the finest stock in terms of like riding them hard for long distances, and this terrain is not the nice, well-kept paved roads essentially that are in most of the Empire. So you're guessing that the horses would probably struggle to keep up for any length of time, and in order to catch them, you'd have to ride like the wind.
I would like to preserve our horses, so I will head towards the birds.
All right, everybody else doing anything in town?
Oh, did we see any sign of life at all in town?
Yeah, I would just keep keeping up.
Or
with
even
the
like
sign.
in terms of like squatters or signs that people had made camp there.
If you'd like to take a little bit of time to investigate, you can certainly do that.
I might want to do that before
Yeah.
chasing things off on the horizon.
All right. Anyone who wishes to do that, give me investigation rolls. Intelligence investigation.
What time of day are we at?
It is just kind of cresting past midday. The sun's square overhead, beating down. Only very, very faint wispy clouds across, but other than that, the sky is clear. A lot like it is in the picture on the splash screen. All right.
3 plus 8 equals 11. I
Yeah.
rolled an 11 on my investigation.
All right. So we have a 3, an 8, and an 11.
I was about to say it's
people-
better than mine.
as people look through. Long whiles ago, people lived here. Things are so thickly coated in dust. You can see just sort of sand is kind of just duned up and drifts along some of the sides of the buildings, and what isn't broken and just fallen off in disrepair is all open. You find a couple pieces of furniture that look like they haven't been touched or taken or moved in years, but nothing that suggests anyone has been here recently.
Looking behind me, on our horses or on foot, how long does it take for our tracks to be covered? Like, does it happen? Like, is the wind constantly moving?
You're guessing a couple of days, maybe.
Okay, all right.
Like, it's not... There are these, like, windstorms that blow through, which would probably cover them in a matter of 3 or 4 hours, but that's not, like, the constant weather.
Okay, I just wanted to get a sense for that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Bird time?
Yeah, you're awfully fond of birds right now.
Does it have a name yet?
I'm waiting for it to speak to me. Tell me its name.
If I only could comprehend languages. Okay. All right. So, yeah, let's check out the birds.
Oh, one time I owned a name book. Too bad I don't have it with me. We could look through it. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right.
To what end are we chasing these birds?
Well, because right at the moment it's the only thing that's moving out here. And we haven't seen... Well, no, because they're probably there because they're eating something. And we've seen no signs of life, so...
Don't you want a new mount?
What?
You could ride a bird.
I have a new mount. It's sassafras.
But a new one.
Sassafras.
I named mine Succotash.
Ah.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't say that out loud till right now, and I
named
weird.
mine Disposable Horse number 475.
Jesus.
How many disposable horses do you have?
That's
Kid?
all right.
Cannot get attached to horses in Dungeons and Dragons.
Why not?
I'm disposable party member number 75s, right?
Pretty much.
JK.
76.
Is there no more divine way we could proceed, such as Akira or Roswell?
Not unless we're...
Fast forward toward the goal that we have in mind? Key sword oriented, focused?
Well, I would need
don't focus well.
to know exactly what it looked like, wouldn't I? And I don't. I
I
don't know.
need 30 feet.
Tevrin is
How far
already
away?
riding towards the birds.
I'm riding after Tebrin.
All right, I suppose.
Come on, you haven't stabbed anything in a while.
That's true, I haven't. But that is both a blessing and a curse, It's good that I don't have to smite our enemies because there are none before us. But seeking out a random set of birds doesn't seem productive. Hopefully I'm wrong.
As you're having this discussion, there's just...
Yeah, we're going.
They're galloping off. So,
We're
Tebrin
following, just to be aware. We
Okay,
are-
good. So Tebrin and Kendra head off a bit ahead. Siora kind of goes out a little bit and then it's like, then like here's you guys debating whether or not they leave and circles her horse around and then sort of joins up with you guys as you finally do ride back. Tebrin and Kendra, I need you both to make perception rolls for me, please. And Maria, you can make a perception.
Delicious.
Wow.
All right, 17 and 11 for Tebrin. So, Kendra, you notice sort of the lay of the land first, and the scene that you see kind of out in the trail in front of you, maybe about 60 feet or so, is somewhat gruesome. And it appears it's a collection of about a dozen vultures are circling and swooping down and gathered in a large clump, feasting on bodies that are strewn across the trail. Looking in, the bodies themselves seem like larger humanoid creatures, though you can't really make out. And then there are two other larger beasts of some sort, also sort of just bodies laying on the ground. And it's hard to tell any specifics at this distance. All you can see is kind of the ripping and tearing and rending of entrails by this flock of vultures that's feeding very happily. And you stand there and kind of take pause with your horse looking up at this. And Tebrin, you don't notice, however, Kendra, you do. And after a few moments between all like the flapping and the squawking and the devouring, you notice a female halfling darts from one corpse over to the next, and you can see her kind of like pause. She tries to like roll one of the corpses sort of like over away from the flock of the birds. The vultures around seem much more interested in eating than they do in her at the moment. And with a 17, you also do notice that another 30 feet or so away from this, sort of just past this area, there's a small wagon with a mule tethered to it, just sort of patiently waiting there. Tebrin, what you see is sort of that same scene, none of the specific details, but also there is kind of there's punctuated sort of like rocks and various outcroppings and stuff all over here. And at this particular section, there are two sort of larger chunks of rock risen up on both sides of it, and the road kind of goes through in this like very small, like, I would say
It strikes me as a bottleneck.
It strikes you as a really good place for an ambush.
Okay.
From
Then
your
since
military training.
I don't know anything about halflings, Tebin actually isn't super bothered by the gore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully, keeping an eye out for any lingering attackers, I'm going to try to ascertain exactly who these people were and what killed them.
All right.
I'm going to go to the nearest body.
So, this is not the song I want. So going in, you are you doing this stealthily, or are you just kind of like riding your horse into this flock of vultures?
Oh no, he's off the horse already. I am going to do it quietly.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll first.
Delicious 11.
I hate your modifier.
That's oh.
Really? Because I love my modifier.
I know. I love your modifier too.
11 with a plus
I
9.
int-
All right. So
I intend to
hopping
take
off your
expertise
horse,
next level.
sort of going forward, you realize that this is the first time you've tried to be stealthy, and all you hear is as you just keep watching, and some of the vultures kind of like perk their head up, and you do get close enough to the first body that is there in front of you. There are vultures around it, and as you get nearer to the body, some of them kind of turn, like snap at you, as if they're kind of defending their kill. You can try to make an investigation roll at so what you're trying to determine.
Race and what killed him.
All right, give me an investigation roll. We'll start with that. At disadvantage, because you are currently being kept at bay by probably about 4 or 5 vultures. And my cat.
Then okay. Yeah.
All right, so looking over, definitely a humanoid form, somewhat larger. It's being ripped to shreds. You can't tell anything about it.
Okay. Then I'm gonna mutter underneath my breath, okay, fuck this. And I'm gonna draw the moonblade, I'm gonna drive the fucking vultures off.
All right. I need everyone to roll initiative.
Okay.
I mean, it's just birds. What's the worst? Oh my god, what's happening up there?
Oh God. Oh, she's adorable.
There's the role I was looking for.
Are we dragging ourselves anywhere, or are we already here?
Yeah, we don't add the initiative order unless we have tokens.
Yeah, I forgot to. Sorry.
I gotta clear this. Clear it out. All right. So drag anyone else who's Kendra, you're kind of there. Everyone else, I'm gonna put you over in that bottom corner a little bit. You guys are probably 120 feet out or something like that.
I'm rolling again to get myself on the tracker.
Right.
And then I'll take my original. 29.
All right. As we prepare to fight the birds.
Now I have a token?
You gotta just drag it.
Oh, I have...
Yes, yes,
forget
you
how to
can.
do this.
You drag it. Drag your name. Drag your name.
I always forget how to do it. I got it.
All right.
Dragula. Rob Zombie.
You must drag it. Da 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 da. You must drag it.
Let me open. Why not do these work?
Dungeons and Drag It.
I get the joke. Ha ha ha. Funny, funny. Alright. I won't do that one because that is the one you will kill first. Alright. Vultures are good. 15 for Vulture Initiative. Alright. Everybody else who's not here, you probably want to look up the riding speed of a horse.
40 feet.
Alright. So I said you're 120 feet away, right?
Wait, horses move 40 only? I'm fast. I'm dismount.
Oh, wait a minute. Time out. Time out.
Take
No.
2 seconds.
Time out. I actually think it's 60. Sorry. It's 60. I had draft
You
horses.
could have just been running this whole time.
No, it is. It's 60. Sorry.
Oh, where's my initiative? Alright.
No, Marison's probably still faster than that.
I'm not. My magic boots only give me 50.
Aw, damn. Just shy.
It's
Alright.
double my speed.
Tebrin,
No, double plus some.
You are up.
Gonna hit that one with my sword.
I like how we're not riding together. We're all like, no, you over there.
18.
18 will hit.
And I am going to add onto this. Well, let me roll the damage on that first. And unfortunately, I do not get sneak attack. 13 points of slashing damage, and I'm going to add on slashing flourish. Oh, come on. But that goes
Killer 1.
to that one.
Alright, so you're attacking this one first?
Yes.
Alright, so that one, as you slash through, you literally just cut the bird right in half.
Yeah.
And the other one sort of like lunges back, and you clip it a little bit as it just starts pouring blood out of that wound. You get the sense that these are just regular fucking birds. You're killing them with magic ancient elven weapons.
Well, it's what I have on hand.
Alright.
And so I'm going to take my second attack at the one that I hit before.
Alright.
Oh, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to... bonus action disengage from the bird.
Alright.
Okay.
Easy enough.
Hit that one.
Give me an attack roll. 27 will hit the completely unarmored, defenseless animal.
And this one does get sneak attack on it, so 20 points of slashing damage.
All right, and an explosion of feathers. You're not even sure where the bird was or where it ended up. It's just like, Kendra, you just see like this like half of a bird fly off into the off to the left in the distance.
It slices like a watermelon.
Yeah,
I just kind
like
of
a
sigh
feathered
and,
watermelon.
flick some blood off the blade and like turn to the pigeon and go like, "Don't worry, I don't have anything against you."
I thought you said lick for a second, and I was like, oh god!
This got really weird.
I'm gonna kind of scratch his neck a little bit,
I
and my
missed the
turn.
light, Tebrin. He didn't lick pigeons. All right, Kendra, you are up.
I would like to twin firebolt, which for some reason has disappeared off of my thing. So let me re-add it back. Firebolt.
Oh, it's because you were denied our demonic powers.
Ah, of course.
For being indignant.
Firebolt. So I'm twinning this.
Alright, so you need to make 2 attack rolls.
Oh, I thought twin was just one attack roll.
I don't know, is it? I think it's 2.
I don't know.
Alright, both hit.
Okay.
Which ones are you shooting?
This one and this one.
Okay. Another damage, please. Alright, so, Tebrin, as you sort of finish and you go to, like, scratch, balls of fire, just explosions of feathers, with these horrible screeching noises, and the second one hit, sort of catches on fire, runs in a circle, like screeching, flapping its wings catch on fire, and basically just fans the fires of itself and immolates. Those 2 are dead. Any movement, anything?
I'll just stay sort of where I am for now.
Alright. The vulture's turn. You hear a lot of squawking and just general turmoil as the vultures are all going to use their... just to make sure. Yeah, they can all get their...
Barcock?
I'm just going to get these dead ones out of the way.
Well, those got some distance.
Those are there, and with all the squawking also, you do see back behind the rock up here, coming up onto the rock itself, you see 2 much larger vultures, one would say giant vultures, as they kind of swoop up, and this one paces around the outside. This one actually turning its attention towards the mule and the cart. Those coming out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks on you, Tebrin. These are all with advantage because these do have the pack tactics. So coming at you, 7 attacks. 1.
Pew, pew, pew. Oh.
Keeping in mind these are just birds.
17 actually does hit.
Hadn't you heard that bird is the word?
Bird. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, I might have done too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. No, that's good. So 21 hits, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 3 of them hit. Or 4 of the 21 was one of them, or no?
21, 19, 18, and 17 hit.
Yes.
So
My
that's
armor class is 17.
4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you take 12 points of piercing damage as they all just sort of snap in at you with their beaks, and that will do it for their turn. Kendra, you do see past all of this that the halfling darts out and off a little bit, sort of into that mound of bodies, and there are 2 right here and right in here are there's larger sort of beasts there that are also dead. There are corpses, so there's just kind of big piles of bodies here, and they are going to do something that you can't see.
The bodies?
No,
Oh,
not
no.
the bodies. Okay.
Love it if the bodies would do something.
So,
And we've gotten to fight undead since I got this sword.
disappear out. Oh, Roswell, you are up. You just hear a whole bunch of squawking and flapping off in the distance.
All right, I am going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, I'm going to cast. Let's do Toll the Dead on that one. It's right next to Tebrin.
Where did my... And that one is not injured.
Correct. So it should be the, yeah, that's the normal one.
Come on. I accidentally closed Vulture. I opened giant vulture. Wisdom save?
Correct.
Oh, they're actually quite wise.
Damn
This
it!
is
I was
not
really.
It's a 2. They rolled
Okay,
an
all right,
actual
so
one,
14
not quite
points.
wise.
And then in addition, as my bonus action, I'm going to cast spiritual weapon, and I'd like to place it here.
All right.
Oh, he didn't die.
No, that would. Oh, I did the wrong one. No, the one you casted on his head explodes.
Okay, great. I would like to do spiritual weapon. Actually here, and attack this one.
All right.
I'm just casting it at the whatever level is the lowest. So 26.
26 will hit the unarmored bird.
Okay.
Right.
9 points of force.
As that
damage.
one's head sort of, you can see this very sort of large glowing needle just skewer right through as the vulture goes to snap. It just sort of body goes still and limp, and then the needle just sort of slugs it off as the body slumps to the ground.
And that is the end. But I think that by now I likely have seen these larger birds up here since I moved.
Where are you? Yes, you definitely see the one on top of the rocks.
Okay.
These rocks kind of go up a little bit here, so that one's probably pretty occluded from you.
Oh, there's bigger ones over there. Okay. And I'm done.
All right. With the insightful, strategic commentary, Akira, it is now your turn.
Okay. Are we further back than this, or this is where we are?
You are further back than that.
Then I
You are 120 feet away from the edge of this map.
Okay. I assume I can get, like, here-ish? Dismount? Is that true?
Is that better than dab out?
Huh?
Terrible. So bad.
What? I missed it.
Please keep going.
What would you like to do with your turn, Akira?
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get here. So I dismount from here, and I'll come up to this one, and for the first time, I'll use my mace on this bird.
A mace.
A mace. I'm going to mace it.
Where are you?
That's amazing.
Oh, sorry. I guess I should move right here.
You should, move within melee range of a bird. 10 surprisingly still hits it because it's a fucking unarmored bird.
Cool.
And as the birds are all sort of focusing on Tebrin, and one's next to brain explodes as Roswell runs in. This one pecks sort of towards Tebrin and then turns up to see you as you slug it, and your mace just sort of impacts and craters into its head as like you spin around, and the end of it just sort of like stuck on, and you fling it down back on the ground.
And then I'm gonna put my shield up, and I'm done.
All right, shield goes up. No, Marius, you are up.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
Do you ever have one of those moments when you suddenly realize just how high level you are?
This is perfect testing grounds, and I understand that of all the people in the middle of it, Tebrin will understand the most, so this will be perfect.
Oh no.
I would like to use, this is not an attack roll. Now you said I was 120 feet away from the edge of this?
Yes. So like on where the road is, essentially.
So if I move 60 feet closer, I am only 60 feet away from the edge of this, right?
Correct, from this square or whatever.
Perfect, then I shall do that. Oop.
Whatever you're planning, you have the movement to do it.
I certainly feel that I do, because again, this is not an attack. I want to use the description here, and use the call lightning spell.
All right.
Oh.
Do you have call lightning in the as a spell?
I
that you can click on?
happen to have put it on my spell list. So here's what happens.
Oh no.
Did it not click? I just clicked
I
it.
didn't click it.
No, I mean I literally just clicked spell.
Is it prompting you a level?
Cast the level.
Did, but I selected the level. I'll do it again.
We're-
It's getting nothing. Nothing's getting done. Hold on. Let me make sure the setting's correct. Let's include the description on the attack. Let me do this. Let me check it if it's an attack now. All right, I'm going to reload. Because everything looks like it's correct. Oh, I got all excited too. This is anti-connect. Okay, character sheet, spells. I'm not sure what's happening.
You're not allowed.
All right, so it is concentration spell. 4/1. And so what is the point that you are casting this on?
Okay, I'll do that. I should be able to mark the screen, I hope. So we're gonna put it like here. So it's got the 60-foot radius from there.
It's enough to cover kind of everybody.
And then I'm gonna strike Tebrin and everything around him.
Uh-huh.
All right, so
I like it.
dexterity saving throw Tebrin and
Yep.
all of the, so it's what, 4 more vultures remain?
Indeed.
And then it'll be 3d10.
So I will take half of 3d10 damage.
Indeed.
Dexterity save, so 1,
If I take away the
2,
attack,
3, and 4. What is the DC on it?
13.
All right, so 2 of them take full damage, 2 of them take half damage. Which
is it because I don't have a spell slot at that level?
maybe.
Yeah, it's not putting it into chat, but I've clicked everything. Sorry. I'll copy pasta it.
Yeah, I have it in front of me. It's 3d10, or half that if you pass.
And the DC was also 13.
All right, so this giant
Take
cloud
that 6
just
points of damage.
gray sort of looks really out of place in the sky that's otherwise clear, sort of midday, and then sort of cracking. You can hear it sort of echoing, reverberating between these two rocky outcroppings as the lightning comes down, and as you swing through, it just catches the moonblade and just slams down on you, but the moonblade kind of helps deflect it off. The vultures around you, not so lucky, as just and all you see there is Tebrin in just like this like big sort of cloud of feathers, and it's just a mashed down sort of like charred remains, little tendrils of smoke coming
Okay, 4 more times and we're even. And my turn is done. I stop my horse where I'm at. I feel that I can control it from here.
All right, Tebrin, all of the vultures around you are dead.
Okay. I would like to take a free action to swear at Nomarius creatively in Elven.
All right, what does that sound like?
Doing that. While I... Let's see, what am I going to do?
All right. I'm going to recreate the spell as a cantrip. That way, at
I
least.
think that'll work.
I think it's preventing me from doing it because I have 0 spell slots at that level.
Boop. Bonus action, dash. 2 Moonblade attacks on this very large bird.
Yeah, this one is quite big. This one is unnaturally large.
19?
19 will hit this very large unarmored bird.
Okay. This one has sneak attack on it. So that is 21 points of damage. And my... Oh, is it dead?
It is remarkably not dead.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take my second moonblade attack at this giant bird.
It's like literally on the ground, like trying to slowly pull itself away, but not dead, and not actually prone. That's just 29 will hit it.
Sorry, ignore the sneak attack. I forgot to turn it off. 11
Alright.
points of damage.
All right, and with that, you remove its head, and that one is dead as well. Anything else?
Nope.
Kendra, you are up.
I would like to ride on over.
All right.
And then I would like to chromatic orb this large bird at. Let's go for second level.
That will hit the large unarmored bird.
Fire damage. 18. Also wild magic. Not a 1.
All right, so chromatic orb just goes out, does slam into the bird, and kind of takes a big chunk out of underneath of its wing, but does not appear that you have killed it. Anything else you would like to do?
No.
All right. That bird sort of limps a step up to the top and takes off, beginning to fly a little unsteadily at first, and it is going to take the dash action to flee out into the area beyond, traveling 120 feet. Would anyone like to do anything else to this bird or any other creature here?
No, I'm gonna sheath my sword.
All right. The bird continues to fly away. And Kendra, on horseback, you can kind of see down over the corpses here. You see this female halfling kind of like looks up at you and gives you this like look like, who the fuck are you people? And then slowly kind of starts backing their way out along the trail, and then kind of turns to see you there, Tebrin, and then freezes again.
Yeah, Tebrin's like walking back towards Kendra, and at the same time like pointing up to the dissipating cloud and shouting at Demarius, "What the fuck was that?"
I was testing out my sword. I didn't see you there. It's akin to being shot in the back with an arrow. I'm just saying.
Uh-huh.
It works. You're fine. I knew you would be. You were grounded. It's fine.
I don't know what that means, but I think I'm insulted. And I'm gonna come up and block off the halfling's means of egress.
Wow, that was win-win-win. Nice.
She kind of turns and looks, and then back, and you hear kind of over your shoulder, Tebrin, the mule just sort of like lets out a big exhale, and you do hear the creaking of the cartwheels as the mule just like slowly starts walking away down the trail, as she turns and looks at you, Tebrin, and then back at you, Kendra, and then like slowly kind of like starts backing up towards that, and her hands kind of go up. I don't mean any harm. I am not a vulture.
Thanks for the clarification. I'm very easily confused.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure. Actually, you can make a nature check to check if you're checking to see if she's a vulture.
Oh god.
I believe her this once.
But the next time she says she's a vulture.
So, what are you doing here? Why are you pilfering the vulture food?
It's not just the vulture's food, it's our food too. And,
Who is our?
me and my mule.
Anybody else?
You eat the flesh of humanoid creatures.
Why not? Where else you gonna eat nowadays? There ain't no pubs and taverns.
Have you tried eating the vultures?
kind of burnt most of them to a crisp.
Oh no, there's half of one over there that kind of went flying.
But I mean, why eat the orcs if there's much nicer meat over here? And she kind of like skips out past you, and goes over to the side of one of the larger sort of beast carcasses there, and you look at it, and it looks to be some sort of creature that resembles kind of a buffalo, just sort of there on the ground.
Do you live out here
pub?
alone? Sorry.
I just heard someone talk about a pub.
Well, I mean, yes, no. I live out here. Sometimes it's alone, sometimes it's not.
Oh, you're not alone out here?
Well, no, you're all here right now.
Yeah, that's true. What happened to these guys?
Don't care. They're dead. Ripe for the picking. Split it with you halfsies.
I mean, I can make my own food. I mean, are you hungry?
Yeah.
All right. So I get off my horse and I start to cast create food and water.
As soon as you start casting the spell, she backs up kind of like skittishly at you, and her hand just sort of like grasps towards her belt, except there's no like weapon there. Like you can tell like she may normally have something there, but her belt is just like covered in pouches that seem to be like stuffed with things, and she has a big backpack on her back. You get the impression that she's scavenging at the moment.
Yes.
And then so she like grasps, she doesn't see it, and then she looks up at you and just like, ah!
Are you attacking me? What are you doing?
Are you attacking me?
No, I'm making you food.
I don't want to be food.
No, I'm making. I get it. Words are hard. We all have a problem. I'm making food for you.
Oh. Why didn't you say so?
Can you just like let me just do my thing? Okay. And I think because, all right, let me know if this is like weird, but because
it's weird.
No.
Yeah,
I know.
It is.
No. Because I need a receptacle for the amount of water that I want to do. And given that we would have done this, I think I might have had a big canvas thing in the bag of holding that I can use to create a receptacle for water. Okay. So I pulled that out of the bag and yeah, it's okay. It's all right. So, and I create food and water. I'm like, it's all right. Help yourself.
She kind of like cautiously looks around, and just sort of like walks up and kind of, what kind of food do you make?
It is probably like some breads and cheeses, very Plowman's platter type of, type just hearty pub beer soaking up food. All
right. She goes over and sort of, keeping her distance a little bit, kind of like a skittish animal, and just sort of like grabs a loaf of bread and just sort of just kind of bites in and breaks off some chunks. Oh, you are really hungry cook.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's not like super tasty, but it'll fill your belly and get you going.
I've got a small belly.
That's okay.
Can you make more?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's 45 pounds of food. Are you going to eat 45 pounds today?
Is that your cart over there? Maybe you could put it on the cart.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but you got it.
Whistles. Rowan! Come on, Rowan. Got plenty of food for us. The mule stops, sort of very slowly sauntering off, and as it turns, Tebrin, you notice that the mule itself is actually missing one of its front legs. Which is one of the reasons that it's hobbling so slowly. And it just sort of turns into this like wide sort of arcing path, and it doesn't look like it was like recently injured or anything. It's missing part of one of its front legs, and sort of turns and slowly walks back, and then just starts drinking the water from where you put. So Roswell being there in sort of close proximity as she's eating, you notice that the halfling, I almost said tiefling, the halfling, she has sort of this deep chocolate brown complexion. It seems to catch kind of this golden glow from the sunlight. One of her eyes is covered in an eye patch, and you can also see her nose, ears, eyebrows are all pierced and adorned with various trinkets and small bones and jewelry. She's wearing leather armor that's kind of like a patchwork of different leather sources, all kind of different faded colors and all of that. But one of the things you do notice is that they do seem like they're all stitched together in something that you'd guess is actually probably pretty useful and pretty functional, despite its sort of non-patterned appearance. And also, like I said, lots of sort of pouches and packs, and has a big sort of backpack on it. And you do see that up sort of in between her back and the backpack, there is the hilt of some sort of type of sword, an arming sword size.
So, hey, now that you're, oh no, it's you. So your mule's got a name. Do you have a name?
Course. I don't know why I'm Irish now, but everything is Irish.
It's reflexive.
My name
Is that course or carse?
My name is Saffron.
Saffron.
Saffron Noakesborough.
Nice to meet you.
My friends call me Vulture.
Oh my god.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Did we happen to like kill any of your kin? I mean,
She takes a second and looks around. I ain't got no orc kin.
oh, well, like a vulture. I mean, you called yourself vulture. I didn't know if like,
It doesn't mean that I'm literally a vulture. It's more of a it is sort of a professional nickname.
oh, sure.
Like they're scavengers.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's just, this is a different part of land for me. So I just didn't know what the customs were, that type of thing.
There
And
ain't none here.
oh, so like we could make our own?
No. There's
Oh.
none.
None.
Or at least I don't have any. I don't stand on any sort of circumstance.
So
I like it.
where are you? Are you hanging out here? Are you going,
Why would I
coming?
hang out on the road?
Usually, oh my God, you're very literal. But if you're scavenging, usually that means you're going to be heading somewhere to sell stuff, right? Where are you going to sell anything around here?
I ain't looking for money. You know what you can't eat? It's money.
You said your friends call you Vulture. Where
right.
where all do you live?
Close
by?
Where do you live?
Nowhere in particular. Just
Right,
around.
that's same place for me.
Okay, so you just go from place to place.
No, I just don't make it a habit to tell strangers where I live.
Oh, mm-hmm. Well,
That's policy.
I'm from Sharkstraw. Do you know where that is? Have you ever been there?
Right, it's quite a bit ways south of here. What
Mhm.
brings you up through the Scalding Wastes?
I've never been through the desert. Just
Well, that's a good
traveling.
choice. I was
Mhm.
down there once. Right, dreadful country.
Have you noticed any like weird natural anomalies or?
Yeah, there's just a crazy lightning storm that's still up there.
Oh, other than that,
I'm glaring over at Nemarius again.
Is that something I should be worried about?
no, he just has a magic wand and he likes to do it. See, look at how weird he is back there.
Y'all are quite a sorted bunch.
I make
Well-
my horse go up on the two legs, catch some lightning on the sword.
You know, like when a kid gets a brand new toy. Oh, well, you know when you find something kind of cool and you want to put it in your ear and you're pretty proud of it. Okay, so I guess we're just trying to figure out as we're passing through here if there's anything of note, anything weird or odd? Maybe
Besides us.
I mean,
besides us.
y'all are the weirdest thing I've seen in a while. I mean, lots of dead orcs right for the picking ain't something that you see all the time.
So, yeah. What?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Well, actually, while this conversation is happening, I would like to inspect the orcs.
All right. What are you looking for?
I am trying to determine what killed them.
All right, that will be a wisdom medicine check, please.
Oh, who could do that?
Not me.
As far as you can tell, these orcs have been killed by vultures.
Okay.
Well, not too long ago, we saw some dust tracks heading west. Is that a friend of yours?
I don't make it a habit to befriend the dust.
Not dust, but as if someone was moving through the
Gotcha.
road.
Yeah. Nope. Got all my friends here. Well, all but one.
Oh, you're missing a friend?
Aren't we all missing a friend?
Well, yes, but you seem to have just mentioned one person, sort of. Can we help you? Or do you need help? Or
Well, no, not really. I mean, she kind of like goes over it, seeing you like start to look at the body. She kind of goes over to the one nearest her and just sort of starts rifling through and kind of takes a moment and just sort of rolls it over so that the devoured part is facing down and starts going through pockets and stuff.
Tebrin, did you find anything?
No, they got ripped up pretty good.
Oh, that's
maybe
detailed. Mind if I take a look?
Look, none of you people are friends with me because I am good at, and I gesture at the bodies.
Oof.
Looking at them, they probably weren't killed by the vultures.
Yeah, probably not.
It's hard to tell. The vultures have done quite a bit of damage to them.
I guess, are there any around? Are there any stray arrows we would have seen from like a ranged attack? You know what I mean? Like,
make an investigation roll for me as you search around.
Well, have you not already spoken with the dead? Previously, I believe, right?
Yes. I'm trying to remember if that's something I always have prepared.
I do.
So looking around, there are no, looking at sort of just the general collection of bodies, not just a single one. You notice that the carcasses of the buffalo-like creatures appear like, even though they have been kind of pecked away, their like fur and hide is much tougher than that of the orcs. So it looks like the vultures first turns their attention to the orcs themselves. They do look like they have wounds, and one of them actually has sort of a broken off piece of an arrow in it. So it looks like those were killed by arrows. And you also do notice that the orcs themselves are carrying bows and arrows amongst other weapons, mainly different types of axes.
As if they were hunting.
As if they were hunting.
As if they were hunting. Okay. I do not have that prepared.
Does anyone need a break?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's take a
But
5-minute break, and you can all collect your thoughts as to what you are going to do next as you sit in this pile of bodies while the halfling eats as much of your food as can fit into her mouth.
It's all right. She shouldn't eat it after 24 hours because she'll get a tummy ache. Okay.
she won't go swimming. I'll let her know.
Okay. It spoils.
It'll be fine.
So I always have speak with that prepared, but I don't speak orc, so I don't see the point of raising this spell. What? I have no idea what she said. Okay, I'm gonna take breakdown.
Just looking up Speak with Dead. Okay, yeah, so it only knows the languages in human life. Alright, so everyone feel free. Take a little bathroom break. We will be back in 5-ish minutes. Well, we're going to anyway.
Okay.
All right, we're back. Hopefully, y'all are back. So, halfling woman, kind of a bit skittish, still investigating the bodies around you as you look around.
On the orc bodies, do I notice any emblems maybe that I saw in research about the Glittering Barrens or just common knowledge? Because they're kind of close to my home, kind of not. Kind of...
What is your passive investigation?
Is it working? Yes.
Good.
Max roll for
10
damage.
it's 10 plus
17.
10. Okay. So,
Oh, wow.
you can do give me an investigation roll, but you can't get lower than a 17, so.
Investigation.
Okay, that's fine. Wait, your passive investigation is 17, but you only have +2 to it?
I don't know. I'm just looking off of a
Oh. So the
D&D Beyond.
wait, D&D Beyond says it's?
It does. It says 17 passive investigation.
You only have a +2 modifier.
Do you have
Are you
a feat?
observant? Are you
I
observant?
have observant.
Oh, that's fine then. Great. So well, what's your just out of curiosity, what's your passive perception then?
18.
So you do know that you can also read lips with observant, right?
Yeah.
Read my lips.
All right. So, looking over, it's a little bit difficult, sort of, to make your way. You know that a lot of tribal emblems usually are tattoos or that sort of thing, but with the flesh torn away. You do find, after looking through all of them, that you actually see 2 different emblems. And having gone through and researched this, one of them is it's kind of like the outline of a skull, and half of it is white, and the other emblem appears to be 2 crossed spears. And you just sort of thinking back, going through, the half skull is the Skull Splitter tribe, and the 2 crossed spears is the Shrieking Ruin tribe. And there appears to be about equal numbers of both here. Go ahead.
Skull splitters? Sorry.
Skull Splitter, yep.
So 2 different tribes fighting. That's what this is.
Beth will recall that Monk's tribe was the Skull Splitter tribe.
Oh.
Which tribe is winning?
Doesn't look like any of them won whatever this is. Give me a history check, too.
History.
All right. So you didn't get too in depth during your research of this. You do know that these are the 2 most prominent orc tribes. They're the 2 largest tribes. You also sort of generally know that tribes are, as Timur was saying during the break, tribes are very territorial and react quite aggressively if someone comes into their territory. But it does strike you as slightly odd that these are in equal numbers here in such a small sort of... Usually if they fight each other, it's like a big conflict. That's what do you get from
There's
those
2
rolls?
massive armies on each side of us. We haven't noticed.
You just don't notice it. You're in the middle.
Did I come across any maps that would pinpoint the location we're seeking based on where these tribes are?
There are no real accurate maps of where orc territories are because they shift quite often.
Okay. All right. I don't think we should stay here very long. Let's move. I'll relay this to everyone. This is this tribe, and I'll do it in a way that is like almost word for word in the book because I studied that thing for a while. You know, these are the facts. Blah blah blah.
But tell
Well,
me about
someone-
the blah again.
Okay, so this is how the blog goes. Blah, 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 blah. And then you go blah, 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 blah.
Lost me.
Amazing.
Until someone tells me to shut up, I'm just going to keep talking.
Please
Jeffrin
shut
has
up.
wandered off approximately 5 minutes into this.
The halfling slowly but surely is going, as you guys are going through the body, she'll go to like a body that you're not at and just is picking stuff off of them, throwing it onto the cart. Collection of probably half a dozen hand axes now, some other small pouches that she kind of puts in other things.
Did we get the halfling's name, Roswell?
Saffron. Some people call her the vulture, she said.
Right, I shall not. Saffron. I can't help but notice that you seem to have made a home out here in the desert. Are you always here?
Yeah, I live out here.
Are there any places you would not venture?
I try to steer clear of the various other tribes of these orcs. Orcs ain't good business. Not that business is much other than living, but if you're in the business of living, that's not a business in which orcs, you go near them.
That was very well said. Any other places?
Well, try to stay away from the mines. Ain't nothing there.
Mines, you say? How fortuitous. As we seek something very similar.
Well, this place is ripe with mines. You know,
Well,
it
it's
used to be a mining place. That's why I'm here, or at least originally.
So it looks like what's yours is mines. Okay. So
You could say that.
You could say
But
that.
we won't.
You could.
well said. Any mines of particular danger that you avoid?
What direction, maybe?
Well, most of them have been sealed up or stoppered off, but Jim Spiral Descent is far too big for that sort of thing. There was a orcish settlement right smack on top of it that kind of took control. I guess they were hoping that Gems would come back somehow, but that's silly. Gems ain't got legs.
You speak a lot of truth, Saffron.
I'm a truthful person. She kind of like picks her nose a little bit.
That was not necessary.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I
Fantastic. Could you at least tell us where the closest orc dangerous tribes are currently?
Yeah. Which direction is this?
Well, the Gem Spiral Descent is just sort of does like a full sort of very slow 360, kind of like looking at the surroundings. And stops for a minute, looking a little bit disoriented, and then you hear a bray come from the mule, and its like head is like gesturing wildly. Right, yeah, just southeast of here, maybe about a dozen or so miles. Orcs have moved on, though. They got forced out. I don't think they're doing so well.
Forced out by who?
Well, there's they're not the only dangerous thing out here. Gretsch even, they don't like the orcs much. They try to take care of the land, and orcs, well, she kind of gestures at the two buffalo there. Orcs are, well, they kill the things to eat them.
Now, did you say Gretchen what?
The Grethreven. Rock druids.
We might prove a little better to find out what we need to know. Do you know what their location is, or are they hard to find?
Well, they're set up at top of the gem spiral descent now. They don't take too kindly for outsiders.
Oh, they're also this fantastic.
We don't get many any people like you down here. There's I don't know. Why are you all here?
We're just trying to pass through safely, so we
Well,
just
then-
want to know where to avoid.
You should steer clear of all of the things I just told you and go
Then
Good.
why haven't you left?
because I live here.
But doesn't sound like a great place to live. There's other places to live, you know.
Right.
Well, there's no
Those
place
don't
like
sound
I get it.
too great to me either. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Like farm or like work on docks or something. I don't know.
Well, no. I can just take what I need. I don't have any rules, any laws. There ain't nothing here to stop me from just being free. And she just throws her arms up and sort of spins around in a circle, trips over one of the bodies a little bit.
I want to do an insight check on her just to kind of just to for
Roll
peace
to
of
5.
mind. Yeah, well, just to kind of get, is what she presenting really her? Like, or is there?
Just don't trust any NPC ever. Yeah. No. Insight check, please. 24.
Well, I would just feel weird having this whole interaction and not doing it once.
There's definitely a simplicity to her, but going through, there's a layer of something strategic going on back behind all of the sort of front of simplicity. It is not that is like deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like that's not all there is going on. And like even as she's doing all of this and talking and having these conversations, like now that you're stopping and thinking about it, she's collected a shitload of stuff from these people, and you guys have searched these bodies like several times and found basically nothing. And she has probably made a very good haul as the wagon starts filling up. So there likely is more than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm. So where are you taking all this stuff? I don't want any of it. It's fine, but where are you taking it?
Well, I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah, and just are you home alone? Are you home alone? Are you home alone?
Wow.
No.
Sorry.
I have a mule. And
Yeah.
occasionally I have other people stay at my house.
Okay.
I don't really have a house.
You don't need to lie. It's okay. I don't really have a house right now either. Actually, I've never had a house now that I think about it.
I haven't either.
Houses
Not
are
weird.
hard. I mean, if you need some, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
I never really wanted a house because, you never really want the things that you can already have.
That's a little too deep for me right now. There's a lot.
Right. Well, she kind of like perks up a little bit again, that sort of like skittish nature, and sort of her eyes kind of were meeting yours for conversation, but then they look out back past, and you turn and you do see that sort of out on the horizon there's just appears to be this kind of like rolling storm, as she kind of like looks up and points.
The mummy.
That ain't great news for you, or me if we stay out here any much longer than we need to. Storm's rolling in. Time to seek some shelter.
Are these storms normal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
The
curious.
wind blows up all mighty collection of gravel and sand and dump it on nigh anywhere in here.
Is there someplace nearby that we can take refuge at?
Or
are we just gonna get pummeled with rocks?
There's a town right over there. We just left.
Yeah.
It.
Let's go back to the town.
yeah, town's good. Some buildings are sturdier than others, but yeah, town's good. I'm going to town.
Well, then, let's go. I can feed you again. It's okay.
Kind of picks up a little bit. Right.
It's fine.
Well, I
Let's
can
get
take you to
moving.
my home if you promise to feed me
Mm-hmm.
forever.
How about as long as I know you? In person.
Is that a threat?
No, we're just gonna part ways like most people do.
Right.
I mean, we're not gonna live together forever, are we? I mean, you're not proposing. I think this is too soon, too fast. Let's go to town because of the storm.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right, this way. And she goes and kind of walks alongside the wagon, kind of scratches the mule's head as they head off, sort of in a direction away from the town that you came from.
Oh.
Oh.
This is encouraging.
Do you follow them?
Can I use a charge on my medallion to detect thoughts on Saffron?
You can certainly try it.
I would like to.
I am on the horse and following.
I'm following Tiburon.
What do I need to do?
Good question. I've never used it before.
It depends on whether you're reading surface thoughts or trying to go deeper.
Um,
Because if you're just doing surface thoughts, then there's no save.
Link.
just surface thoughts. Just to make sure we're not like heading into a trap. That's what my main goal is.
Duration, you can read thoughts of certain creatures. You cast the spell as your action. Each turn, so let's just focus. Initially learn the surface thoughts. There's no save against it until you probe deeper. So the surface thoughts that you get from her is one, sort of concern for moving quickly, getting out of the storm. Two, she's hungry but doesn't love the way your food tastes, but it's still guaranteed food. I don't know what number I'm on.
3.
It is there's a lot of thoughts sort of like clamoring around. And you also get the sense that there's an eagerness to get back to her home and to bring you all there.
And to bring us all there? She wants us to go there?
Like everybody as a group, eagerness to get back home. Interpret that however you want, but that's her surface thoughts.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to be cautious, but I will follow.
All right.
As my party goes, so go I.
So, you make your way going, and you're heading sort of in a direction that you're guessing is generally to the south. The storm appears to be coming west to east, and you travel for another hour or so, and you eventually come across another one of these ghost towns, very similar to the one before, and Saffron kind of brings the wagon and the mule out around, sort of weaving through a couple of houses, and there's probably only maybe about a dozen or so structures in this like little town, and heads over to one of the slightly smaller ones. It's kind of like up against a cliff face, and goes over and unhitches the wagon and kind of opens the door, takes the mule, walks around sort of to the side where there's kind of a sheltered, almost shed, and leads the mule over there, and then comes back before she leaves the wagon, counts every, like, goes through and like kind of puts her eyes and hands on everything in the wagon, goes, then comes back and does the same thing again, sort of just like looks up at all of you. Well, here we are, home sweet home.
Do you have accommodations for 6 more horses?
Oh. No. But there's plenty of... She sort of gestures out. Ain't no stable that I know of, but
Is
the
there
house
a
over there looks like it could fit horses if you took down a wall or something.
If I took down a wall?
Right. Horses ain't gonna fit through the door.
Well,
You could make-
Mine will. I have a miniature horse. It's
Oh, I like your horse. I think it's a good size.
sassafras.
Oh. Nice to meet you, Sassafras.
Okay. Is there anywhere besides the house that we'd have to take down a wall to fit our horses through that we could put them safely? Not like talking to her, but like looking
Only
around.
someone could mold the stone.
Yeah. It looks like there's probably enough sort of sheds or garage areas that might be able to do it. There's no proper stable, but you can probably stick them all in somewhere.
Okay, as long as they're safe.
Not an issue. You just kind of find one of the nearby buildings. It's like large enough. It has a sort of larger open room where you're guessing people have stored wagons. Or something.
Saffron, if how long should we expect the storm to last?
Some blow over in a few hours. Others could last a whole day.
Mm.
I don't know. Sort of like sticks her head back out the door. Who knows?
What do you do during the storms?
Try to eat. Make stuff. Talk to my friends.
Who are your friends? Can you introduce us?
Oh, yeah, why don't you come inside?
After securing the horses, maybe.
Well, go do what you need to do. I'll be inside. She heads on in. It's easy enough to secure the horses there. And you proceed after her?
Do we? I don't know.
We have no choice now. How close is the storm, Casey? Do we think we could, if things go badly and we have to leave, could we get back to the other town, or has it been too long of a travel?
You're guessing you would have to ride through the storm to get back to the other town.
So we're going in one way or another. Trap or no trap?
Oh God.
I
We're
settle
so
the horse-
untrusting.
I settle the horses and I go into the NPC's house.
All right.
Search for traps.
So going in, it does the front part of it looks like it is just as abandoned as anything else. Like going in the front room, you don't like you would never know that anyone was here, aside from maybe like a little bit of stirring of the dust. But she kind of weaves in back through a couple and then opens a little hatch that's you guess goes down to into sort of like a cellar as the house was originally designed. She pulls it open, sort of slides down the ladder. She is carrying a fairly large Santa Claus-like sack of her recent exploits, and slides down. And you hear just sort of a little clank as she gets to the bottom, and then just sort of looks up and shouts out at you.
Yep.
All right, home sweet home. Close the hatch behind you, or the dust will get in.
I follow her.
All right.
And I mean,
right.
unless is my party behind me?
Yes, I'm behind you.
Okay.
All right. As you go down, you notice that there are fairly not large, but decent-sized piles of more or less junk, just in various places in the cellar, and then it does excavate out into a larger, sort of more open area that has in the side of it sort of like a makeshift hearth and kind of a chimney that goes up, and standing in front of it you see a large humanoid creature, but only very vaguely humanoid. It has a very large shell on its back, and kind of
Hey.
turtle shaped, as
Donatello.
it she comes in, and the creature just sort of like slowly turns and looks over, and you can see this like smile go on its face as kind of puts down the it's kind of like working over some cauldron or something, and you can see there's some food being prepared, and everything in here is kind of looks scavenged or makeshift. Like there's a lot of things that seem to be like hodgepodge crafted together. There is some furniture. The beds look to be more just like kind of old mattresses on the floor and collections of straw and all of that. Well, I said I had more friends. This is Yeeble.
Have I come across turtles in my?
Have any of us come across turtles?
They're not common at all in sort of civilized society. Down south in Felvisari, there are some out in the jungles there. But anything kind of like north of Glittering Barrens on up, they don't go that far.
Are there any at Ogral?
You would know of them. They're not necessarily a large population.
Give him a bit of a bow. Pleasure.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Tebron. I introduced the rest of the party.
Yeeble.
Tebron also doesn't seem thrown by the turtle.
Oh, Saffron, why are all these people in our house? Well, I thought it would be... The storm was coming, and I think they saved me, or they almost killed me, I don't really know. But figured I'd invite them down here. Shrugs. Well, alright. I don't know if I'll have enough for the rest of them.
Oh, don't worry about it. I can help.
No, I will not have people staying in this house that aren't taken care of.
Oh, okay.
We
Right,
appreciate the
almost
hospitality.
Done fixing some stew for all of us. It was gonna last us a day or two, but it'll just do for tonight. It's gonna be right good. It's cactus and coyote, one of my favorites.
you so much for your hospitality.
Holly feels right at home.
You've never had it before?
No.
I found the coyote. I think it's only been dead a couple days or so. I think it's still great.
I turn to Tiburon. What's a coyote? What's a cactus? What's and?
Well, part of that is basic grammar that I'm not equipped to help you with. And I think coyotes are just like kind of long dogs. I don't know what a cactus is either.
Welcome to the desert. So
Is it edible?
sorry for intruding. Thank you so much for your hospitality. We didn't know the storm would hit. We're just passing through. So thank you.
Where are you headed? He just like
Um,
has this really long, uncomfortable stare in which his eyes like don't blink or anything. He's just like waiting for you to respond.
Just south.
I don't know, has there been any place where there's been earthquakes lately?
Earthquakes. Are we gonna start getting those now?
I don't know. But we're looking for something earthy.
Well, you came to the right place. There's right many earths around here.
There certainly are.
Why don't you make yourselves comfortable? And I'll finish cooking up my stew. Great. They're a talkative bunch. Yeah, well, I don't really know. A weird lot. Won't tell me
That's
why
fair.
they're here, really. They ain't passing through because they don't want to be in the desert. Ain't nobody passes through here. Unless you're going to the City of Souls. You're not going to the City of Souls, are you?
Well, what's in the City of Souls?
Souls.
Treasure.
Not particularly nice ones.
Treasure is there too, but it's kind of weird.
There is a lot of treasure, but ain't nobody stupid enough to try to get treasure from the City of Souls.
We've heard tales.
I actually think this sword
Challenges.
the City of Souls.
What sword?
Taps the Moonblade.
Oh. It's a very nice looking sword.
It is. It won't like you if you try to steal it. Elven blades are very particular.
Right.
They're
Elves are a little touchy.
Generally, yes.
You hear footsteps on the floor above you.
How are our hosts reacting to this?
They don't seem to be phased at all.
Okay, then I am also not going to be concerned.
You hear creak of the hatch as you see another figure sort of coming down, slowly climbing down the ladder themselves, and your turtle host turns. Rowan, I thought you were still out in the storm. As you turn, you see a human woman, kind of warm complexion.
The mule?
The mule!
Somewhat pointed chin and nose.
I knew it was a person. Sorry. I knew it.
Both her eyes are kind of adorned with these faded black tattoos that come out and sort of curl up in these spiral patterns. Very simply dressed, sleeveless layers, neutral linen colors, and there's a vest over the top of it that's kind of like a well-loved black and gold piece. And you also notice that Rowan is missing her right arm beneath the shoulder. As she comes over and sort of gives Saffron a very familiar embrace, and then goes and kind of sits down in a seat over kind of by where the turtle is making food, and she just sort of looks at all of you.
Sorry, did you say what race she was?
She's human.
Why is everybody missing limbs?
She's a donkey thrope?
Ask things like that, Kendra.
What? But the mule was, and she is. Is it a
They're the same.
desert thing?
They've got the same name.
It's a druid.
Okay, I know people with the same name.
Hey, Rowan, were you a mule earlier?
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's the same. There's not many people out here.
I turned to Severn. Does the turtle turn into something too?
You're asking all these questions, but you do some weird stuff, like, shoot grease out of your body and
You've changed it to
Out
a
of
potted
my
plant
produce
twice.
badgers out of thin air and
No, out of fuzzy balls in a sack.
yeah, okay,
But
well,
you have-
thin air.
Just to reiterate, you have turned into a potted plant twice.
Oh, that too.
Yes, but that's just nature.
Don't stress your mind over it too much. I was born a turtle. Still a turtle. And I ain't gonna be nothing but a turtle until the day I die. And then I'll be a dead turtle.
Oh, that got real sad. I mean, it is the circle of life, I guess. But okay. So,
Here.
Are you
he
like
starts like
you a-
serving up bowls and kind of like bringing them
Are you,
How
to you.
are you attached to your shell, or can you like climb out?
oh my God!
You sure have a lot of questions.
At this point, Tifford has given up and is sitting down and is very studiously eating his
Sierra kind of like takes it and like looks at you eating it and then like looks at it and looks back at you.
Sierra, just think about how well traveled you'll be. All the stories you'll tell of exotic adventures.
I already have traveled quite a bit, Roswell.
Not here. You haven't traveled here.
There's reasons you don't go certain places.
Maybe you should just shut up before I shove this stew in your goddamn mouth.
Great.
Tifford is now just like refuses to move his eyes from the food and is acting as if nobody is talking around him.
All right.
So it's meat, you say?
Yes.
There's
Right. In.
fresh-ish coyote. So everybody,
I'm a nomivore. I eat this.
everyone has a bowl if you would like to partake in the cactus and coyote stew.
I very politely do.
All right. Everybody eating stew. All right. I need all of you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Of course.
Yes. Is this against poison? Because I've got advantage.
You do have advantage.
We failed
Okay,
to
thank you.
notice the ominous banjos on the wall. Wait a minute.
That tracks with everything else that's ever happened to me in my entire life.
Constitution.
All right. Where's Sierra?
Chewy.
Nice, Sierra. All right.
Of course they do.
I'm actually gonna type the chaos just for the excitement of life. I have regrets.
All right.
Do you have to take that roll if you do that?
I don't know. I could check, but I feel it's not worth it.
I think you're
All right.
supposed to state it beforehand because it gives you advantage.
As you eat, occasionally there's a little meat that's like just tastes like a little bit off, but otherwise you all manage to hold it down, and the evening continues.
Even Tebrit and Sierra?
Yep.
Okay.
They're gonna get food poisoning.
All right. Rowan sort of doesn't seem to say much, but kind of just stoically studies all of you. And then once it looks like you're all sort of unable to stomach any more of the food, she just sort of leans in. So, why are you really here?
Around at the party. Like, are we disclosing this information?
We like killing big monsters. We're monster hunters. We're looking for big things to kill.
Make a deception roll.
That's not technically.
Technically a lie.
It's not technically a lie.
But it's misleading, though.
It's
It's a half
misleading.
truth, yeah.
Right, spot on, actually.
You ain't gonna find too many big creatures here anymore.
Just one is enough.
The land's mostly dead. Took most of the creatures with it.
But what's mostly dead?
The land.
land? The land. Oh.
Been that way for a dozen years or so.
So why do you just all like being free, living off the land? Like you came here originally for the chance to get rich and decided to stay?
I was born here. Saffron came for the riches. Why? I don't even know where Hebel came from. But he's here now. I was a druid of the land here, but was tossed out of my tribe. Said I had too much of a fascination with all of the prospectors and had abandoned land, etc., etc. But I thought you could have both. I sure was wrong. But they wouldn't take me back, and then I met Saffron.
Were you the druids that are currently at the Gem Spiral Descent? Is that what you were part of?
With Grethreven, yeah.
So if the land's kind of stripped, why are they still there?
They're trying to bring it back. Folks dug deeper and deeper into the earth 20 or so years ago. And, well, they struck something that they shouldn't have. And then they took something that they shouldn't have, too. And, that's when, the land went dark. No more stars in the earth to be plucked.
Jimmy's gems.
What did they take?
Gems.
Well, they took all sorts of gemstones as your friends, but they broke into the burrow of Oris. He's a keeper, guardian of the land. Dwells deep below, and kept things fertile. It's where all the gems came from. That's why that area was so rich. Down in the bottom of the Gem Spiral Descent, some hapless fool just stumbled upon it, and deeper they dug until that hole was nigh a mile deep.
You write that out.
The name of the thing.
Just the name. Sorry.
The Gem Spiral Descent?
Nope.
Burrow of Oris?
Yes.
Burrow of Oris. O-R-I-S. We don't get
Wait,
much.
burrow as in a verb, or borrow, which is like
Burrow, not like the neighborhood of Oris.
Okay.
Singular being.
Or
Not like the mule.
Orisberg, what?
Right. So they dug deep, and we had always been told they had found what we call the heart of the elders.
What?
The heart of the elders.
Mm-hmm.
HEART of the elders. And it was that was the conduit. That was how Oris could channel the energy to keep the land going. And they took it. Mighty ruby. Somebody said it's the size of a head, others the size of an ox, and don't think it really matters. It's priceless. But it's gone now. So Oris sleeps. They couldn't get him to wake up. So the land dies.
He sleeps in the Gemsprowd one? Does
He's
it?
never left his burrow. That's
Never.
all the way at the bottom of the mine, yeah.
So to theoretically bring him back to life, you bring the ruby back to him.
Right. Except no one knows where the ruby is.
I'm sorry that your tribe would not accept.
I pulled Tebrin to the side.
No.
So, you know how we received that ominous divination message about, morals and sacrifice, and
Sure.
so we're gonna have to take the ruby down there, and these people are gonna get the happy joy of, growing, coming back to their land, and then we're going to kill whatever it is, and take it all away again.
Well, I mean, that's presuming that there isn't another way to charge the sword.
There's absolutely no possible way in the universe. We have. This is the only way. As it is the first one I've seen.
Well, I mean, I'm inclined to mark that down as a problem for future Tebron. But yes, I take your point.
So many versions of Tebron. So many problems. I'm not there, sorry.
Welcome to the Tebron verse.
I don't know. You could make the argument that even a lich isn't worth sacrificing an entire area. I'm not sure if I'm inclined to make the argument, but it could be made.
Generally, you, not me. You, I wouldn't make that argument. It's sort of already.
I'm speaking about you in like a cosmic sense.
Yes, not a me sense.
Yes, precisely.
Besides, we're not really sacrificing the area. Yeah, we're just not saving the area.
Yes, and I mean, at the end of the day, I suspect we're going to be the ones making that particular choice, or making it off to the side where nobody notices it.
Casey, mechanics question. The party is in possession of 3 swords now, is that correct?
Correct.
Have we identified all of the elements that are stored therein?
We only have... Karut has fire. We have the
Wait,
storm.
2 swords?
There are 2 swords have been charged. One of them is with Karut. That's fire.
And you have the other one.
We have air, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're designated to one element.
They're
It's
not
just-
matched to each element.
No,
Any of the
but
swords can be charged by any of them.
But we have... Oh, so we have an empty sword as well. That's...
You should have 2 empty swords.
2 empty swords.
We have
One of them was-
rapier and a short sword.
One of them was very recently
And a longsword.
delivered to you via worm post.
We have 2 empty swords.
Murder
We have
post.
your air sword, and Karut has the fire sword.
Okay. So then, following that logic, which is a bit of a leap of faith, Nomarius is going to ask Donkey Girl. No, sorry. Terrible with names, though. Rowan. Oh, Mr. Bean. Got it. Rowan. The nature of the Guardian, is it one that can bring back life through water? Or is it more of a control the earth type situation?
The Guardians, I've never seen him,
But as a keeper of the...
he's an earthen being. He's what cultivates the gems, makes the land fertile enough to support the plants, and so too the animals.
You said he was sleeping, but is it possible that he is deceased?
I suppose anything's possible.
So there's no proof of one or another?
As I said, I ain't been down there.
But maybe you've heard. That's what I was asking about.
I ain't heard much. I haven't been back to my tribe in nigh on 8 years or so.
Is the way guarded by your former tribe? Were we to go to the Guardians' lair action area?
They chased the orcs away. The orcs were there because that's where the people went, and the orcs could take from people who thought they could still strike it rich in the gem spiral descent. But they've, as far as I can tell from a month or so ago, maybe even sooner, they've taken the settlement on top. They're doing something.
Is it considered sacred ground? Were we to go there?
I don't think they'd much fancy all poking around with your lightning swords and your balls of fire and...
Oh, you saw that, did you? It was pretty good.
yeah.
Okay.
I heard that...
Ah!
You realize that he's literally just been like standing there like listening to this, like just kind of closer than you would have expected, and just sort of chimes in.
Well, I've heard that they done took that giant ruby all the way back to the Emperor himself.
That sounds about right.
Really? There ain't no way that that's correct.
Well, I only hear what I hear.
Have any of you seen this ruby or heard detailed tales of this ruby?
It's big ruby.
Hmm.
What was it that gentleman said?
Wait a minute, what gentleman?
There was a gentleman. What was it? He came through here not but a few days ago.
Slender, bookish.
No, he looked more like a man.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Does he look like he would read a lot of books?
I guess he had a couple books with him.
Was his name Karut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellow.
Yeah.
Delicious. Great.
Yeah. Where did he head? Do you know where he headed?
Or what did he say?
He He said he was just looking around. He, wanted to know where the mine was and what was there. But he looked at it and said, I don't think this'll give them too much trouble. And then he left. He did tell us about the ruby, though, which is how I know it went to the Emperor. You know, you gotta trust the stories you hear. 'Cause people tell stories because they want to be heard. And there's truth in that. He said when they found that ruby, he read about it in a book. Those are great places to hear stories.
Holly's like,
I'm sorry. I am beating.
He said Ruby was so spectacular that they said, we can't keep this for ourselves. This has to be a gift to the Emperor. And so they took it all the way back. And upon seeing it, the Emperor himself was so moved by the sentiment that he pledged it would always remain at the heart of his people, in a place protected by the purest of warriors, but just out of view and beyond temptation. I thought it was a right beautiful sentiment. I don't.
I just tonight has been just hey here they're gonna and then there and tie it and just
Jeffrey's just gonna sigh and lay down so that his head is in Siora's lap and his feet are kind of in Kindra's and just like resign himself.
So, I've never traveled there. One day I'd like to see it. Maybe we could all go together. Maybe. You can see Saffron is just like kind of curled up, clutching a fairly large piece of bread, just sort of dipping it in the bowl of stew and then eating it. Just off in a corner.
Is there somewhere private down here where you have a conversation?
Literally 2 rooms.
Okay.
One of them is fairly large, and the other is like the actual cellar that's now been like dug out underneath. And you can hear, as all this has been happening, the storm has been blowing in, so you can hear like the rattling of wood and windows and just howling wind, and occasionally like the pattering of rocks and stuff being pelted against the sides of the structure above you.
I'm gonna make my way close to Roswell and whisper in our ear.
All right.
Put your head on his
whisper.
shoulder.
hang on. You've got coyote and cactus stew breath.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Like it's okay. Mine's not great either, but it's a lot.
I don't know if I should scry or legend lore to see. I mean, oh my god, I'm so tired.
Speaking
Should I
of
scry? Should I scry?
Kendra, Tebrin, Roswell, and Siora, you begin to feel more and more exhausted.
You can do whatever you want, buddy. It's fine.
Are you okay?
Yes, good. I'm just really tired.
And almost as if you're sort of
being put under by narcotics, sleep takes you in such just a warm wash of unconsciousness. You're all considered poisoned. You're all incapacitated. And that is where we will end tonight.
No!
Right on.
Who was that? Tebrin?
Coupe de Gracies.
Everyone but me and Namirius?
Kindra, Tebrin, Roswell, despite having advantage, and Sierra.
Hey,
So-
guess we're gonna have to kill some turtles.
You said Sierra too, right?
Yes, Sierra rolled the natural one. Sierra actually probably fell asleep on you, Tebrin, slightly before the rest of you.
Hi.
Welcome to the Glittering Barrens.
And this is why you always bring your own lunch.
You didn't like the coyote?
Maybe I would have liked Roadrunner better.
Because of who made it, you literally just had turtle soup.
That's true.
That was
Of course.
painful.
Sorry. Of course.
Oh boy.
Wow. Well, welcome back. I've had a lot of time to think.
Always dangerous.
Wait, you have? Huh. Wow.
Wow.
So, as always, thank you all for hanging around with us and watching. It was fun. We're back this week, next week, the week after is when you're gone.
I will be able to play next week. It's the weekend. It's the 29th. It's the last week in July.
So next week, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Come find out what's gonna happen to our party. It's gonna be a right good time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be grand as well.
Mm-hmm. And howdy.
So for all of you at home, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Let's try the soup.